Today we're talking about Back to the Future on the 40th year anniversary, guys.
Don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train.
Yeah, which you can tell that somebody's watched Back to the Future exactly one time is if you ever mention Back to the Future and they're like,
hello? Hello? Anybody home? Think, McFly. Think.
Dude. Jesus Christ, you disintegrated Einstein.
You could see her. Did you notice the shadow?
yes, I did. She stops.
Put your pants back on.
Oh my God, she's trying to.
Every time he pulls up the photograph, I'm just going to put Nickelback's photograph on it and post.
Look at this photograph.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Shadwick.
The water.
I didn't do it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for. Today we're talking about Back to the Future on the 40th year anniversary, guys.
Don't need money, don't take fame.
We need to go back in time. So, dude, before we get started, be sure to like, subscribe, hit us up with the 5 stars, and if you want to, hit that thanks button and send us money because we sure do enjoy that, and buy some merch. Guys, where do you first remember seeing Back to the Future? This one came out 1985, so I think we're around 5 and 6 years old at that time. I didn't see it till it hit the TV circuit. I don't know if any of you guys were privy to any of these.
I've got to think that was probably the same for me. There's no telling when I first saw this.
I have no doubt. My sister, of course, is older than I am. She loved this movie. And so this is like one of the ones we owned. I know, like, when Gibbs was here, we always joked about us renting, like, everything. But we actually, like, this is one I'm fairly sure we owned because I do remember it vividly. And so, but I can't even, you're right. I was so young, I can't even tell you, like, when I actually saw it for the first time. I sort of always grew up with it.
Speaking of your sister, actually, like, she's got IMDb credits, by the way. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Dude, she was in Due Date.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Why have you not told us any of this stuff?
She's been, you guys, like, she's been
Was
an actress
she in the shower scene?
You know what?
You know what? Shadwick talking to your sister led you over to.
Nice.
But for real, we got to get your sister out here for real because that would be awesome to pick her brain, especially being around all that shit.
She's told me she's down, dude. We're gonna get her on, dude.
We got to figure out what movie it is, and then we'll get it done, man.
Oh,
Today,
I already know which one it is. Yeah.
Today, guys, got the black rifle. Whoop, there it is, Dog Dad. These stupid. By the way, these stupid fucking Ray Dunn mugs that every woman ever has bought. Fuck this company forever. My entire house is this, and they're like collectibles and shit too. So like, they're like, wow, I was over at Hobby Lobby today, and they have the new Ray Dunn blah blah blah, and I'm like, cool. So that's another $40 not in the bank account. Anyway, Ray Dunn led me over to Black Rifle Coffee and some Irish whiskey today. So thanks a lot, the Always Sunny folk, for the 4 Walls whiskey and my coffee. And I'll probably finish that before the episode's over and have some more because fuck you, Ray Dunn. Leaf, what do you got, man?
Bro, I'm drinking a little bit of Andy Gator here from Beta Brewing, dude. I don't know if you've ever had this one. Bro, this is a staple in my house. Like, this one's...
yeah, I've had some other stuff before. It's tasty.
Dude, it is actually really good. 8%, by the way. It's a little hold on.
Yeah.
See you guys later. Good luck, everybody else.
It won't be as bad as Gibbs when he's doing the THC drinks, and then we just see him in the background just like wandering. Like, you're just like...
Reminds me of the strain I smoked last summer called Here Comes Autism.
Like, who are you talking to back there, Gibbs? He doesn't have his headphones on anymore. Shadwick, what do you got, man?
And full transparency, we're doing this on a Sunday evening, so I've been drinking all day. And we were at the pool, and it's basically a science project inside me right now.
Okay.
I've been mixed matching all day, but at this point in time, I'm back on the good boy.
Yep. And
Yep.
we know we always said, thanks for buying my products at a urine soaked John Daly.
John Daly.
He did say that.
He did say that. Yeah. Also, don't forget, I actually did a guest spot on one of our buddies' podcasts, Sleepy Dads. It's going to drop, I believe, the Tuesday after this. First Tuesday, I think, in July it drops, man. So check me out on there. We did a little waxing, little teaser for Grandma's Boys. Talked about seeing that back in the day and whatnot. So shout out to those dudes.
Shout out, dude.
And our new Rewinder of the month for July, man, Nick, a.k.a. Stash is Trash from Instagram, man. Dude, that dude, super fucking cool dude. He's also a Norm fan with us, dude. He's always sending us, like, funny-ass Norm clips. Some shit we hadn't seen before. So, man, shout out, Nick. Thanks a lot, dude, for all the support. And some swag is on the way, man. So
the stash is trash.
It is his trash, man, dude. He's a funny-ass dude. I believe he's a Jersey boy. So,
yeah, he said he's close to Secret Stash.
Yeah, he is, man. So we'll just have to go show up at his doorstep one day and be like, "We're crashing here. That's cool. Awesome, man. Thanks."
Just gonna show up like Jason Lee in Dogma.
Yeah.
Do you have air conditioning?
Do you have air conditioning? Yeah.
God damn, we need some air conditioning today. It's
Dude, no
hot
shit,
as
man.
fuck outside.
Jesus. So, all right, man.
Hotter
Let's
than
get
Mama
over.
June fucking in a wool sock.
Who wants scatty and butter?
Hold on. I got to get that tasted on my mouth. Oh, sweet release. Anyway, guys, let's get over into our topic, Back to the Future. Leaf, kick us off with some boring-ass facts.
Absolutely, man. So for those of you, I don't know who hasn't seen this movie, but if you are and you're uninitiated in
You're gonna get me
19... Back to the Future, of course, is a 1985 American science fiction film directed by Robert Zemeckis and written by Zemeckis and Bob Gale. It obviously, of course, stars Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Lea Thompson, Crispin Glover, and Thomas F. Wilson. The film had a
why are you
budget.
saying fuck him?
His name's Fuck Scott Fitzgerald?
It's almost up. It's got to be fuck. It must be fuck. He's hiding something.
No, it's gotta be fuck.
No.
This film had a budget of $19 million, but pulled in a paltry sum of $388.8 million at the box office.
And how about it also resurrected the fucking DeLoreans from the dead? Like, that's fucking wild, man.
I think a lot of people don't realize, like, what a joke like that was, because, like, we sort of just have grown up with it as the Back to the Future car. But, like, you know, the failed, I don't know if y'all going to talk about it, like the failed DeLorean company.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get into it a little bit, but I just mean, like, it's...
you made a time machine?
Yeah, no.
Out of a DeLorean?
Yeah.
DeLorean?
Like, but I mean, it's what a fucking weird scientist would drive. Let's just be honest. Actually, I think I forgot if it was Gale or Zemeckis. They're trying to raise money for the film, and so Ford, I guess, was like, "Hey, we'll give you $75,000 if you use a Mustang."
And I looked this guy straight in the eye and I said, "Doc Brown doesn't drive a f***ing Mustang."
And like everybody just like went crazy, and I'm like, it's true because no scientists have money.
Plus,
if they follow the science. If you follow the science, you're poor.
Plus an 85 Mustang. I guess that was the Fox body. That's like the square.
Yeah.
Like the one that Arnold put on two wheels and twins.
Oh my God, is that really the same car?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's the mid '80s Mustang.
Hell no.
Dude, let's jump into the film. I'm sure we all do, got facts to scatter through out here. But before we get into it, and I even felt bad doing this, guys, but leads me over to shit stuck in my head this week.
Stewie! What? I have to tell you about the future! What? I have to tell you about the future! On the night I go back!
Wait, no. Hang on, Michael. I have to tell you about your future.
And we've lost everyone. We're Shadow Man.
Well, that's the only reason Charlie Sheen got put on TV is because God hates Michael J. Fox.
I guess. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. Jesus. Look, it had to be done. It's Be Kind, Let's Rewind. This is what we do. All right, let's go.
With that said, in trying to research this movie, I tried to watch a documentary called Back in Time.
Yeah, I finished it.
Well, I didn't because it got to the part where Michael J. Fox was talking, and I couldn't do it.
It's rough.
He was one of my favorite actors. Like when he was young, he was so like
Family Ties.
He was energetic, like always running around, and
he was all that was fucking cool. Is what he was.
Fucking
he was.
Teen Wolf. The Secret of My Success. All that stuff, man. He was just so good, and so like I said, just energetic.
All joking aside though, like that dude's raised so much money for that cause and brought so much awareness to that disease. So I mean, like, for real.
Is it MS? I didn't even check into it.
I'm pretty sure it's Parkinson's.
Yeah, I thought it was Parkinson's. But he's done a lot for awareness and research. And dude, he's still out there, man, and good on him because he's just out there still doing his thing. Man. I want to say that he.
Oh, it says here it's the clap.
Well, it can't be beat, especially if you get it off the back of a toilet seat.
I got the clap too.
So with that, Leaf, why don't we start off the movie?
Nice, guys.
Real quick. I know most people already know this, but they originally wanted Michael J. Fox for the movie. CBS would not release him because he was shooting Family Ties, which was a big hit at the time. So
it's huge.
So they went with Eric Stoltz, and they shot for 5 weeks with him, and also with another love interest. I can't remember. Yeah. I know there were 3 different people that were going to play the girlfriend. I cannot remember the one that was with Stoltz, but they also had the girl that plays Jan from The Office.
That one night.
Okay.
Melena Hardin, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Boring.
Call me if she rolls over.
But
dude, they also like on the casting too. Johnny Depp and John Cusack were also considered for this role when they couldn't get Michael J. Fox. But Michael J. Fox was always the shining star. That was the one they knew was going to make Marty McFly fucking pop.
So Eric Stoltz, they shot 5 weeks with him, and he did not view this as a comedy. He was playing it completely straight, like oh my mom wants to have an incestuous relationship with me. Well, that's not funny, So
what do you mean it's not funny?
That's comedic gold,
dude. It spawned so many fetishes for Zoomers, dude.
That's what I like about the South.
Yeah, appreciate you.
But no, they went for 5 weeks and they took some dailies to Spielberg. I just don't think this is working, man. I think we're going to have to fire Stoltz. And he watches it and he goes, yeah, you got to.
Dude, I also like, how does that fucking happen? It doesn't happen very often because, we talked about it, I believe, in Demolition Man.
Yeah.
The casting of Sandra Bullock was, I forgot what's her name from Tank Girl or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, if you're on, you got to think once you're on set for a couple of weeks, like that is your movie.
Yeah.
You are the lead. How many times does a lead actor get fucking kiboshed? And from all accounts, everybody said Eric Stoltz was nice as shit. None of the people that were working with him were like, what a prima donna, whatever. Like everybody was like, he was really nice. It just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And that's got to suck. And he did go on to do stuff, I'm sure.
Pulp Fiction. Prank caller. No. Wait, are you calling me from a cell phone?
Yeah.
Prank caller. I don't know you.
This could have been his big break. He's sitting with a bottle of scotch and a lit cigarette in a dark room.
Every time it's this time of year, every year they're like, it's the 40th anniversary. And he's like, I go back in time.
Poor Eric, dude.
So he was filming Family Ties during the day. Then he would basically just like shuttle over to the studio and film this at night.
And he would film so his call time, he said, like on that back. By the way, go watch. I think it's Back in Time. That documentary is pretty solid little doc. I think it's about 10 years old now, but still got some good stuff in there, good cameos. But like, By the way, his mom, I forgot the actress name, is fucking was still smoking as of 10 years ago. Just telling you guys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Shoo. Anyway, he would
She's
go.
a slut.
Bong.
Bong. Sup, sluts. So he would go. He would go from Family Ties over to film till 2 a.m. Family Ties call was like at 6 a.m. So he would be done filming Back to the Future at 2 a.m. Sleep. They had a handler with him. He said that would get him out of bed and be like, all right, here's your shower. Like, because he's just so disoriented after like sleep deprivation, which we know nothing about. And like he would just, but that's what he had to do for however long it took to film this fucking movie. That's crazy, man. And for a young dude.
And so at the first of it, the very first scene, it's not even him.
Yeah.
The part where he's walking into Doc Brown's house and you see the Rube Goldberg set up, you know, dumping the dog food and all that shit.
More Rube Goldberg, 1980, guys.
It's like he walks in and whoever that was did a great job impersonating him, like his walk and everything,
mannerisms and shit. Yeah.
But all that, the whole scene until you see him take off I think he had some sunglasses on, and he goes, what is it? Rock and roll after he blows up the speaker.
Yeah.
Like that, all that prior to that is somebody else.
Well, I would imagine they did that probably as much as they could with wide shots.
Yeah, I'm sure. They did a lot of pickups without him there.
Because they're just like, look, we're gonna kill this fucking kid. So, I mean, and if they pissed him off or it was a certain time of year, he was just gonna turn into a werewolf, and you don't want that either. So,
give me a keg of beer.
Leaf, get us going, man.
Dude,
Speaking of Chadwick was talking about,
as Chadwick mentioned, the film opens up with a cluttered garage, sort of a panning scene. You see a wall of ticking clocks, obviously setting the time traveling theme immediately. One of the things I noticed about the scene, there's no music. It's just
silent.
Yeah, it's really
even when it starts with the title. With the title and stuff too, because it's one of those where like I think I was watching it on my iPad or laptop or something, and then I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with the goddamn volume? Like I'm like mad.
The reason they didn't have music in that first scene was because of all the setup that they're doing.
Officials at the Pacific Nuclear Research Facility have denied the rumor that a case of missing plutonium was in fact stolen from their vault 2 weeks ago.
In the original script for this, or it wasn't the plutonium that's the catalyst to set off the time machine, it was actually a nuclear explosion.
Okay, so were they trying to go to like Chernobyl or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Or Hiroshima.
Well,
or
Doc Brown
Nagasaki.
actually mentions that later on. But you know, like y'all mentioned, there's like as the screen sort of pans around, there's like a Rube Goldberg device that's set up. Like it starts to hit. It tries to pour like coffee into and this is what I first noticed is like there's all kinds of 1980s like tech, man,
dude,
that you're watching.
And just future Chris, take this scene out and put the Pee Wee Herman Rube Goldberg music to this. All right, thank you. All right, we can continue.
And I'm sorry. I don't want to Batman Begins this episode, but I thought this was just a funny little tidbit. You know, in that the Rube Goldberg setup, it's pouring dog food out of a can.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they had this thing set up, and it was working great. But when it came time to actually film it, the type of dog food that they were using, they
wouldn't come out of the can.
Well, they couldn't use it because they didn't have license for it. So they had to use a different kind, and the new kind wouldn't come out of the can.
Right.
So they had somebody off screen heating up the can, so
it would come out.
So it would come out. Yeah.
Dude, that's funny. But I mean, like, it just goes to show you that these are worthless fucking devices. Why are we obsessed with them in the 80s? It's like
I don't know.
What did it save him from taking bread, putting it in the toaster, and making coffee? It saved him 30 seconds a day until you have to fix the fucking machine, and now you're like,
yeah, man. Why don't you get a fridge like me where you put your cup in there and you hit autofill and it fills it up?
Right, exactly. You know what? You bring up a really good point, Chris, because I honestly feel as if in the 80s, people were obsessed with like this sort of modern day convenience where everything was done for you, man. And I think a lot of the technology we have today is based on that kind of convenience. Like everyone was obsessed like with technology that could just make everything easier, which is a whole over from the past. Like even in Gremlins, like back in the main dad was like an inventor of all this bullshit, dude. Like he had all these like technological advancements, but they were nonsense.
Into the fucking 90s. I remember Rugrats, like Tommy Pickles' dad was like an inventor of crazy shit like that, like Rube Goldberg-esque things. Like,
I blame Mousetrap.
I mean, I think so. I think Mousetrap was just a way that they could finally monetize it because these things are fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And much like the real Rube Goldberg shit, Mousetrap never fucking worked. So thank you, Hasbro or whoever the fuck did that.
Exactly.
That's the craziest trap you'll ever see. Fuck you.
But as the scenes like pan,
and then until you have a condom with a hole poked in it.
That's at least an 18-year trap.
That's the worst trap ever. Oh, I'm on the peel. Don't worry about it.
I do. It's called the I do trap.
and I did.
So we get this panic scene of like a lot of plot points. It's something that I don't think even watching this is the first time that I ever realized. We get a bunch of different like plot points. You find out that Dr. Emmett Brown's like mansion or estate burned to the ground, and then it was like had been sold. Like I don't know if that denotes he was in some like financial like trouble or dire straits. We see pictures of like Thomas Edison and Ben Franklin and Albert Einstein. There's like pictures of scientists like Chadwick said, the television snaps on thanks to the Rube Goldberg device, and it's immediately on a news report where we find out there's missing plutonium. And so, obviously, this is the last and most subtle clue. Chadwick mentioned this too. The dog bowl is full. And the reason it's full is because this Rube Goldberg machine has gone off many potential days in a row. And
coming off of Jaws 2 weeks ago, I'm like, God damn it! Did they kill another dog like out of the gate? Like,
Einstein.
Damn you! No,
plutonium is by far my favorite element. It's just fun to sing.
Plutonium.
How is your plutonium today?
La biblioteca.
And that's when
sideburns.
Yeah.
And that's when Michael J. Fox comes through the door and he calls out for Doc. Of course, Doc isn't home. And so, taking advantage of Doc's absence, he plugs in his guitar into this gigantic
goddamn speaker I've ever seen.
Amplifier.
My dad came into my room one time, and my dad, for those that don't know, is like a musician. His whole life, fucking fantastic bass player. Did some touring here and there and stuff, but he comes in. And I remember I was grounded, so all I could do was listen to music. And so I was listening to like Nirvana or something in my room. And my dad comes in and he goes, I never thought I'd say this, son. I need you to turn it down.
How bad did that hurt him? How bad did that hurt his soul?
You can see his eyes. He just died a little bit. And then he just like walks away or whatever. And then my parents got divorced the next week.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like,
I'm going back in time.
Within the 2 weekends a year that you saw him, he grounded you.
Yeah,
sucks, man.
Dude, my mom grounded me.
You want like a magazine or something? Sucks.
All right. And so, as Michael J. Fox enters the room, he basically calls out for Doc, blows himself up with the speaker, and immediately, like after that, he gets a phone call from obviously Doc Emmett Brown, the owner of this garage, like where he is. Like it's just a hovel, and you could tell that like
he's definitely sleeping there. Yeah,
he's been sleeping there.
He kind of lives there now. It's a storage unit that he's turned into a $59 a month home.
Yeah,
so
and he even sounds crazy like on the phone. Like the crazy doctor's like, dude, you got to meet me at like Twin Pines Mall, Morty, at exactly like 1:15 a.m., man. Like he says precisely, and just then all the clocks go off like in the garage.
Are those my clocks?
And the doc exclaims that his experiment works, that all the clocks are exactly 25 minutes late. And Marty realizes...
Are you telling me it's 8:25?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yes, dude. Marty realizes he's late for school, dude, and bam! Huey Lewis, you fucking do it.
Don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train.
That's what I was telling Leaf. I was like, we're covered Back to the Future, and I was like, well, for the next 2 weeks, like fucking Power of Love's gonna be jammed in my head. There's like no getting around it. Also, side note, Huey Lewis, big 49ers fan. Woot woot woot.
Nice, nice.
From the Joe Montana documentary, Joe Montana. But dude, this Leaf. This is great because you have the montage of him being the coolest kid ever in life, right?
Yeah.
Like to get to school, and so
Dude,
he's like,
and I'm so like, I just can't believe they let him do the skateboarding stuff.
Like the actual actor,
actually grabbing onto the
man, like because Michael J. Fox is the coolest fucking kid in
He's
1985.
so cool,
period.
man.
No matter what he did, he's the coolest fucking dude.
There's not a kid alive that didn't want to like be on a skateboard and grab the back of like a car and
Which
like
they made a game for it called Skitchin' that was on Sega Genesis.
Also, is also to the point that he had to make a public service announcement to not do this. It's not safe because there were so many kids trying to emulate him doing that.
Well, at least at least it went away after that, and people didn't do stupid shit they saw in movies. Oh wait, remember in the program when they're laying in the middle of the road and they actually had to call movie theaters and tell them to remove that scene? You had to physically send a new reel with that scene out, and you had to attach it to the movie theater because people were doing it.
God,
just to keep people from not killing
we're all
themselves.
Stupid.
Monkey see, monkey do.
That's it.
Monkey pee all over you.
That rhymes.
But leave to your point, like setting everything up in the very beginning of this is what's genius about a lot of these like
It's so
80s
good.
films, because these make you go back and rewatch them. Because when you watch this the first time, there's zero fucking chance you pick all this shit up like
There's
in the
zero
very
chance.
beginning, like
Because you don't
it
know
has
what
like
you're looking for.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so like even the re-elect Mayor Goldie Wilson, who was on that documentary too.
Yeah.
But like the like it sets the stage, and then when you go back and rewatch it, now you feel like you're on the inside when you go back and rewatch it because you're like, oh, there's that.
Yeah,
Genius. Good writing.
They actually they wrote this movie with index cards, so they would come up with
a lot of people do that.
Yeah, they would come up with an idea, put it on a board, and they would be like, "Oh, Marty, he invents rock and roll, so then this has to happen."
Right.
Or
there's a good if I could ever find it, I don't know if I'll be able to. It's Trey Parker giving a seminar at a college.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed, basically. You got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but."
This movie has practically no wasted time. Like everything,
because they have a time machine, they can go cut out everything that didn't test well.
That's true. That's true. But all that exposition at the first like plays into the movie, like every little bit. So this might be, dare I say, a perfect movie.
I'm kind of with you, because also there's this is one I can watch all the time.
Yeah,
there's not a crazy cringy scene in it. There's not a I'm gonna go to sleep scene in this. There's not, like, it just goes like, we talked about a couple weeks ago Jaws being like maybe the best movie of all time, right? But there are anxiety points and ups and downs, and this movie is just like is fun. And there's there's spots and there's some emotion in there, but it's just done so well, and there's no downtime, and it's just boom, 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 and it's fucking awesome.
It is so good.
Fucking awesome.
And every scene, like you said, has nuggets in it that if you go back and you watch it, stuff you didn't realize. If you've seen this movie 1,000 times, I still caught things this played through watching it. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, you see bumper stickers and, you see, all kinds of like little nuggets that
probably
change.
the 5th or 6th time do I even pay attention to the re-elect Mayor Goldie Wilson thing. Like, I'm not even, It's just not. Right. It's until that character becomes endeared to you after you've seen it 16 times, and now that's your favorite character in the fucking Shake Shack or whatever the fuck
Exactly. And to that point, Marty does finally arrive at school after the badass skitching in the news. Dude, he skitches all the way there. And he arrives late, of course, because, I mean, the clocks was late. Dude, he was playing guitar, man. He was busy. And he's met by his girlfriend, Jennifer Parker, played by the delicious Claudia Wells, and who warns him that Principal Strickland, played by James Tolkien, is looking for him because he's perpetually late. I can't relate to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I can't relate to that. I don't know what that's like.
I noticed too, like you notice like a little bit later on, when he's supposed to meet Doc at 1:15 and he's there at 1:16. I'm like, such a Leaf thing. Like he totally could have been there at 1:15, but he's gonna take that 1 minute just so he doesn't like offset, so people aren't expecting to be on it.
I actually sit out in the hall and I'm like, and go. So Strickland catches him and his girlfriend, right? Like immediately, like they're trying to sneak through the hall, get into class.
Dick too.
As if your teacher wouldn't know you were late. Yeah. Like I don't even understand that part. That part makes me laugh every time. Like you're screwed, dude.
So
like,
is this actor the principal?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first movie you guys think of when you see that guy?
Yes.
See, I always think of Top Gun because he has that one. He has that one line where he says,
you screw up just this much, you'll be flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong. Yes, sir.
That's a good
I didn't know that. Wow. Good cut, Chadwick.
That is a good line. Yeah, this is the one that everybody thinks of because of the line that he basically, he says to Marty in this, and he catches him, and he hates him. Like, you can tell. Yeah. Like he
I
can't
can relate
stand
at my high school. So many teachers fucking hated my guts.
Dude, they don't like people with talent and
because you're stuck
attitude.
being a goddamn teacher the rest of your life. What's that like?
Thank God certain people that are related and are married to us don't watch this.
Chris is like, and I said, bitch.
I said, bitch.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker. You remind me of your father when he went here. He was a slacker, too.
This is something people do forget. Like back in the day when, like in the 80s when corporal punishment, dude, teachers could say the wildest shit to you and get away with it, man.
Let's not forget this, too. Like, I know, like, my wife had some shit where she was in school and they were like, oh, you're such and such a sister. I'm going to keep an eye on you. Or like, sometimes people will be like, I had your dad in here. So don't start any whatever. Yeah. So they're like, don't start any shit or whatever. And you're like, what the fuck, man? I just got here.
Dude.
Like, don't get me wrong. Your concerns are warranted and you will rue this day. But
bro, I'm just going to say it right now. And Chris already relates to this story as well. Miss dude.
Yeah.
My choir teacher in high school had my sister, who was also in choir. Again, my sister is like, 6-7 years older than I am. And dude, it was ball game. As soon as I came in there, she was like, aren't you Crystal younger brother? And I was like, yeah. And the reason that she side-eyed me is because my sister toilet papered and I believe egged Mrs. Rich's house at one point in time. And unfortunately, she dropped her wallet with her ID. And guess what happened the next day in class? Miss was like, someone destroyed like my property. I wonder who it could be. Just busted. Destroyed,
you
dude.
Busted.
And so Marty and his girlfriend are basically attacked like verbally by Strickland. And he basically tells Marty that like he'll never amount to anything, just like his old man, and that he shouldn't even bother trying out for the school dance band, right?
Yeah.
It's like a school.
It's
why
like
even
dance.
try?
Yeah, like why even try? You're never gonna make it. You're never gonna amount to anything. It's like he gets so personal, like with Marty McFly here, and the very next scene, of course, is Marty defying all odds with his band, the Pinheads. Auditioning to perform, obviously, for the band at the school dance to play.
Yep.
And none other than Huey Lewis himself.
I'm sorry, you guys are just too darn loud.
Yeah, that's the good part about this is Huey Lewis didn't bother to bring the news for this. He was like, "I'll handle this one on my own, guys."
Dude,
no need for the news on this this cameo appearance. But they're also playing fucking "Power of Love." Like,
it's like a rendition of his song.
That song is in the background for like the entire 5 to 6 minutes. Like, it's like different incarnations of it. I noticed in the background, like as the movie's starting. I'm like, all right, But that is funny. Old Huey got a little cameo and a little wink and nod to the audience.
That one line that he says, it always made me think of like the intro to a music video, though.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys are just too darn loud.
And
Dude,
then fucking Van Halen starts playing. I
That's
don't
exactly
have
what I
my
was-
pencil.
Not all of Van Halen though.
Yeah, that's true.
It was only Eddie gave his
I got
permission.
a question.
Yeah,
I got a question you guys can answer. So, like, can Marty McFly actually play the guitar? Like, he can.
Michael J. Fox can.
Michael J. Fox can play. So that's what I was going to ask.
Dude,
remember, coolest kid fucking ever.
Yeah, I want to say it was back in. It may have been 2 or 3 years ago. May have been longer, but like the Coldplay.
You know how I know you're gay? Yeah. You like Coldplay.
Was doing a concert, and they were they had him come on stage, and he played fucking Johnny Be Good, like. Michael J. Fox, like top tier.
I bet he's really good at like
being.
doing the distortion stuff now, though.
Oh God.
And so he does play a rendition of "The Power of Love," which, like Chris said, is like a theme song throughout this film. And their band is immediately summarily rejected. And I'll be damned if I don't remember this exact feeling when F&A, my punk rock band, Chris was in it. Chris was there. He was in it too. And getting in front of like these judges that are just going to like try to like stand over you like there's
Here's
some sort
the
of
thing.
like.
This is what they said. You have a lead singer in a wheelchair, which is excellent. What you didn't do right is you continued to make fun of the fact that he was in a wheelchair for your entire 30-minute set, and apparently that made some people feel uncomfortable. And I thought, well, maybe you should talk to the one guy in the wheelchair in the room and ask him if he's offended by it, and maybe stop trying to feel feelings for other people. You fucking prudes.
And that was the only time a white Karen ever spoke up for a minority or somebody else. That was the last time.
That was the last time it ever happened.
That was the last
hasn't
time.
ever happened since.
Thank God that wasn't a trend.
At least speaking from that, I'm sure you were very happy they stood up for you.
Dude, thank God they took care of me.
$500.
Well, I'm glad somebody could, because Leaf couldn't stand up for himself.
I mean, in that situation, he could not stand up for himself, which was another great joke we used that night.
That's a good one, dude. It was a really good one, man. We loved it, dude. But you know what? They hated us, but I'll tell you this much. The kids loved us. The kids are gonna love us.
The kids are gonna love us,
man. Leaf, if you can't stand up for anything, you'll fall for everything.
That's true, Sandy, man.
So after being rejected from the talent pool of bands that'll be allowed to play at the dance, Marty and his girlfriend Jennifer after school talk about his rejection, and he basically, this is where you get the first semblance of generational trauma, and I feel like it's something that you overlook a lot of different times, and it's a theme in the movie. Marty's just expressing his anxiety, like, I don't feel like I'm gonna be good enough to do this. What if people make fun of me?
Right.
What if people laugh at me? Like, I feel as if I'm never going to be able to do this. And his girlfriend's like, no, you have talent. All you have to do is send your mixtape into the record company and you'll get a record deal. Because is that how it happens?
That's how it works. We tried it. Turns out.
But he even recognized it. He's like, Jesus, I sound like my old man.
Like, dude, so, like, as they talk it over, he sees a black 4x4 truck.
Toyota.
Dude,
I'd still like to have it.
I was about to say that, Charlie. It's still a good-looking truck.
There's a dude that fucking owns it. Like, they're on that Back in Time documentary. Yeah, this one family, I forgot who they were. They owned actual DeLoreans from 2 and 3, and they owned, I guess, the original truck from 1 got destroyed somehow, but they have the truck from 2. This dude bought the actual truck.
So
That's
they're
beautiful.
just barely scraping by then, I guess.
Yeah, they're just barely getting by in life. So with all this movie memorabilia in their garage, so
But Marty, he basically laments about not being able to afford a truck like that, but he's dreaming big. He's a kid, just like we all were. And he's like, dude, I'm going to have this truck, and imagine we're going to, like, take it to the lake, or we're going to have unprotected sex, and then, like, impregnate you and be stuck with you for the rest of my life. And
because any decision you make at, like, 16 to 18, the fucking right decision. Let's just be honest.
Absolutely.
Like, especially picking your life, mate. When has that ever gone wrong?
we were all with our high school sweethearts for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. The end.
And so as they're like sort of talking back and forth, they start to embrace and kiss, him and his girlfriend, and suddenly in front of them jangles like a can, which that's grounds for assault right there, in my opinion. But a crazy lady wants a donation to save the clock tower.
Another plot point you're not going to pick up the first time through.
You're never going to realize it. And in fact, I had it wrong all these entire years. I had it wrong. I thought the lady was trying to raise money to get the clock tower fixed. Turns out it's the opposite. She doesn't want the clock tower fixed. Her and her preservation society actually want to stop Mayor Goldie Wilson and his little renovation project from fixing the clock tower, because she views it, her and her society view it as a historical like piece of art, basically, like something that's architecture. She's trying to stop him from doing that. I never realized that the whole time. I thought she was trying to raise money to get the clock tower fixed. Like, no, it's like actually the opposite. She's trying to stop him from doing it.
I didn't pick that up either.
Dude, it kind of blew my mind, but that is a key plot point in the movie. So that's massive, right? We find out that 30 years ago, lightning struck the clock tower and basically destroyed it.
Stuck ever since. Like,
and the clock is stuck at the moment.
And as she's like begging for money, she gives him this flyer.
Yes.
And it has a picture, right? A picture of the clock with the exact time.
With the time and date.
With the time it struck.
Yep.
And
in a video
writing.
game, you're like, dude, this is a good point.
Yeah.
I gotta write this down.
What was what's his girlfriend's name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. So her dad pulls up to like pick her up, and she's like, I'm gonna be at my grandmother's house this weekend. Give me a call there. Writes I love you and the phone number on there.
The phone number.
So he folds it up, puts it in his pocket.
Which is why he keeps that flyer.
That's it.
Brilliant, dude.
Yep.
Brilliant, man. Like, why would you keep a flyer? You would toss it, but that's why he kept it, dude.
So
He's
he's
like
looking.
Mitch Hedberg was talking about flyers one time, and I think he was like, "This is like they're like here, you throw this away."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we used to say that all the time in Vegas. Remember that? they would hand us those like pornographic cards to get us to call these escorts.
They're like, "Here, you throw this away. Will you throw this away? Will you throw this away? Thanks, throw this away." That's what it is.
But all right, so Marty, he's planning on this. Like Leaf said, he's planning on this lake retreat with Jennifer over the weekend. They're going to get it on. Woo!
And that's why he can finally, just so I can get this in 4 episodes in a row, he can finally quit playing with his dinghy.
And,
I gotta keep having to cut that in, dude.
So he goes home, and as he's walking like up to the house, he sees a tow truck is dropping the family car off, and it's like all banged to hell.
It's destroyed.
They go in, or he goes in, and he sees his dad being harassed by Biff, his boss.
Yeah,
And-
George McFly, played by Crispin Glover, and Biff Tannen, played by Tom Wilson.
Yeah.
Dude, and Biff is the name itself is all that is bully. Like,
Yeah, I mean, might as well be called Chad.
Yeah, but you know, I figured since they were due till...
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Think, McFly. Think.
Yeah, which you can tell that somebody's watched Back to the Future exactly one time is if you ever mention Back to the Future and they're like, "Hello, McFly," and you're like,
All right. that's like the most uninteresting part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for saying that. But yeah, Shabwick's right. Like we get the scene here where basically Biff Tannen's bullying George McFly, Marty's father, and Marty just stands there and like has to watch it.
dude, yes,
You
watch
know,
his dad just get emasculated like that.
gross.
None of
It
us
made
have
me-
dads like this, so none of us would have ever experienced anything like this, nor would we
Never.
ever if someone tried that. But That'd be rough.
It would be rough. Yeah, and so any respect he had for him at all was like melting away. And he even confronts his dad. He's like, you let Biff wreck our car. You're going to pay for it. You're not doing anything about it. You're not standing up for yourself. I needed the car to go on the trip.
He's like, I'm supposed to have unprotected sex this weekend so I can stop playing with my dinghy.
I needed that car.
Yeah, he needed the car to ruin his life.
Yeah, he's like, how am I going to ruin the next 30 years of my life? You don't let me have unprotected sex with my girlfriend in high school, Dad.
And then Biff's like, as he's walking out, Marty's just kind of like staring at him, and he gives him the, "What are you looking at, butthead?"
Yeah, good, nice recurring line. By the way, Crispin Glover, man, I mean, he does a great job in this and anything I've seen him in. But man, I lost respect for that dude when I saw this interview he did on Letterman, where it was early on in Letterman, and he was doing one of those fucking character actor things where you just stay in character the whole time, and he just went fucking wild. Letterman just like walked off set and was like, "Fuck this." So
like he's a method actor.
Well, yeah, method actor. He's doing like the Andy Kaufman shit, I guess. And man, anyway, I saw that. I was like, well, I mean, Letterman's like fucking my childhood, right? So it's like Letterman and Conan. So don't fuck with my dad.
Well, they're comedians, man. What do you? That's the thing. If you're gonna be, that's the thing. Like, I agree with you. If you're gonna be in character and you're a method actor, don't go on a comedy show, a comedy talk show. Because what are you supposed to do that? If you look at Letterman's perspective, what's he supposed to do with that?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, allow you to just upstage him the whole time, and like, it's just fucking stupid.
Wasn't there an award show that like Jim Carrey went, and he had like this long wig, and he said something about looks like there's a lot of good pussy out here tonight.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was the MTV Movie Awards.
Jim Carrey also another one of those that he's done the same thing too. When he was doing Andy Kaufman, he stayed in Kaufman character the entire time on set and shit, and just
dude, to the point he didn't remember that Norm Macdonald was in that movie.
I was about to say
y'all remember that clip?
Remember when you came and visited the set of Man on the Moon?
Oh, sure, yeah. I was also in the film.
So the car's gone. There's no unprotected sex. You get introduced to the family dysfunction. I do like the whole, this is probably when families started doing this, watching TV while dinner was going on.
Yes.
So
and
we'll
be talking about one of these guys next week in our Superman episode also. Because
yes, we will.
His brother was the guy that played Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, okay, nice. And so
he looks like him.
In this whole thing where you find out that Marty's mom is a little bit of a boozer. She likes a little bit of the vodka sauce, I believe. I couldn't see what vodka it was, but there was some vodka she was pouring in a drink.
I mean, can you blame her for like being married to George McFly?
Yeah, what happened? Especially when she was just so hard up for yuck.
I could tell you exactly what happened because she actually explains it. Because so you do find out at dinner his whole family is just a bunch of losers, man. Like they are. Like, you know what? I'm sorry, Strickland's right. Strickland's 100% right. I said it. Come at me in chat, in any comment section. I don't care.
Yeah,
I said it. Strickland's
his brother
right.
works at like I don't know, the Smiling Clown or movies or whatever.
Yeah, he works at movies, I think.
Yeah. Oh, movies? Yeah, it's like some fast food restaurant. You can through a few layers of dialogue, you find a sister can't get a date. Like no dudes wants to
and
date.
Good point on your notes.
What was
Leaf,
that? Because go ahead.
His sister. Good point on your notes, Leaf, because his sister is just shut up, Meg. Like
Dude,
she's just Meg Griffin.
Shut up, Meg.
So Marty McFly's like entire family's a bunch of losers, right? And you have to ask yourself, like, why? How did Marty McFly ever even get laid? He's got this laugh, dude.
You mean
Do you
George
think
McFly?
he was?
Yeah, George McFly. Excuse me.
Was Crispin Glover? Was he like trying to be funny, or was he trying to play that straight?
I think he was trying to be as annoying as possible because he wanted himself to be the biggest loser, the most spineless jellyfish on the planet. And I think that added to it. Not only was he all those things, that he was just intolerable in every single way. And you look at him, and at the same time, his wife is looking at him like sort of longingly. She's hammered, of course, so that helps.
Well, that helps.
I wondered. So she tells a story.
She tells a story of how they got together, which is important.
Yet again, like the kids have heard it a million times apparently, but she talks about how they kissed at the high school
The box
dance,
social.
the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Yeah.
And and she's like, and I knew from that point I was going to spend the rest of my life with him. And then she kind of has this kind of like sullen look on her face as he turned around, slapping the table, laughing at whatever he's watching.
And she just pours more vodka into her drink.
Yeah.
Now it's just an entire glass of vodka.
Also, she talks to Marty about how she doesn't like Jennifer because she thinks she's too forward. Girls shouldn't be calling guys and shouldn't be asking guys out. Back in my day.
Dude, it's do as I say, not as I did.
But he doesn't know that.
We'll soon find
out.
What do you guys think? Like, do we really know our parents? Like,
well,
do we know like what they were like before us?
I think so. But I don't. I'm at least my mom. I'm pretty close with my mom, and there is no subject off limits. Mom listens to the show. Shout out, Mom. But I know how Mom was, and Mom was just straight up honest with me. She was like, I was a wild child as a kid. Like, that's why I was so hard on you. It's because I didn't want you to make the same mistakes I did, which I kind of pick up on this, is her mom. Yeah. His mom is like, don't hook up with the first person you're with in high school. You're going to end up drinking a glass of vodka every day with dinner, reminiscing about what could have been.
you're like, I'll do that anyway, except it's bourbon.
Yeah, except it's bourbon, man. So she tells a story, and then so you have the plot point of this is when they met, and this is like what matters. And so now Marty is moving forward to meet Doc. Of course, he's a minute late because he's on the leaf time.
He forgets, dude. He forgets that. Well, he falls asleep, and then when Doc Brown calls him, he's just like, dude, you're supposed to meet me in like 15 or 20 minutes. He was just like, what are you doing? Did you fall asleep? He's like, no. Like,
yeah, which is, of course, what you would say. You're always like, no.
You think he was really asleep? Like, because he was so overworked, you think he was really sleeping on his face?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, yeah, like
he's trying to figure out how he's going to get some strange. He's like, how am I going to get away?
Well, things are about to get really strange.
Yeah, they are, man. So he meets him. He meets him at the Two Pines Mall or Twin Pines Mall. You get to see your first shot of the DeLorean, which we kind of talked about earlier. That this was I think they made, and someone can fact check me on this. I want to say off the top of my head, they made like 8,000 of these things. There's about apparently 6,500 left, mainly because of this movie. This would have been one of those. It's kind of like one of those, like I think somebody compared it to a Pinto. Like it'd be hard to find a Pinto now, but like because like people were like, gross, get away. But like the DeLoreans, because of this movie, had this massive resurgence, and now they're worth money because like if you can get a DeLorean and you can fix it up, like there's.
I remember seeing one when I was a kid, like on. Is it Signal Mountain where like a bunch of rich people live around here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I saw one up there one time, but that's as far as I can remember, the only time I've ever seen one.
I've only seen them at conventions or like Universal Studios or things like that. So, but this is where this plot just it takes a little bit of a left turn. This is a time travel movie, so you get Einstein. Doc's showing him what's about to happen. He sends Einstein off.
Einstein's the dog.
And he hangs a stopwatch on they sync up these stopwatches, and he puts it on Einstein's neck, sends him out, and then you think like Einstein just got incinerated. Marty's freaking out because he's a great guy, coolest guy on earth, and he loves dogs. And
absolutely. And it looks like the time machine explodes.
Dude, yeah, because there's fire everywhere and shit.
And Jesus Christ, you disintegrated Einstein.
And then all of a sudden the car comes back in, because he's got a remote control, he's controlling it, comes back in, and then, Einstein's fine, but the clock is 1 minute in the past because to him it was instantaneous, but in real life, 1 minute had passed. So guess what? He has officially found time travel. And then, just like we all predicted would happen, Libyan terrorists arrive in a van to get Doc Brown.
Played by a bunch of Latino actors.
What the fuck left field? Like I figured for sure this would be Russians. Why was this not Russians?
All these Libyan terrorists are like, on delay.
Yeah, I know.
because Russians aren't stupid, evidently, and they don't fall for easy tricks. So they were terrorists, and he basically ripped them off and built them a fake bomb and stole all their plutonium. And that's what he's using to power the machine. You find that out right before they show up, and unfortunately,
even in that first scene where like Marty walks into Doc's house or whatever, you see the case of plutonium is like under a chair.
Yeah,
or something.
we didn't mention that. Yeah, skate, like he kicks his skateboard and it rolls and like it hits.
But again,
the box.
that's what I mean. Like it's like when you start this movie, when you go watch it again for the second time, now you're like on the inside joke of everything. You're like you're on a different level. But like the Libyan terrorist thing kind of threw me for a fucking loop here. I was like, it's like okay, like I'm used to 80s movies with the Russians, so I mean, I guess they just wanted to change it up, give the Russians a break, now it's.
Yeah, Doc explains that when the car gets to 88 miles an hour, or what does he say? If my calculations are correct, when this thing gets to 88 miles an hour, you're going to see some serious shit. Yeah. so
Exactly.
That's when the time travel happens. He comes back and he's like explaining how it works. He came up with the flux capacitor when he puts in the date, right? He's like,
he shows you get to see the date, which is nice because it tells you where you've been, where you are, and where you're going.
Yeah, and you punched in, and he's talking about all these like different things in history that you could see. And he's like the birth of Christ, and it's like December 25th, 0000.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
And he's like, or the day I invented time travel, and he puts in the date 1955.
Right.
And he starts to reminisce.
Yeah, he starts explaining, like, I was trying to hang a picture. I fell off the toilet, hit my head, and this came to me.
And then I woke up, and so actually shout out to our boy John T. We were watching this, and John T. was like, when he's like, yeah, you can go back to the birth of Christ, January 25th, 000, and John T.'s like, yeah, but wouldn't you just be in the middle of North America and a bunch of trees, like with nothing going on? I was like, damn, bro, like, well done. Yeah. Yes, you would. You'd be like in a bunch of undeveloped land.
Like Leaf's ancestors chasing you with rocks and shit.
Leave that one in.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a pretty. John T made that joke.
Really
and
get
I was
out with
like,
your scalp attached.
I was basically like, God damn it! Would you just ruin this for me, John T?
Yeah.
You can't try to make the movie make sense.
No,
or it's not fun.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it
this is
but
when-
it is.
when
He
you-
was joking, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I knew that when you said like when one of y'all was like, "This is a flawless movie," I was like, unless you overanalyze it,
Which is
with the
anything,
science
yeah.
and the time paradoxes and things of that nature. It's like, dude, like, you can ruin anything. Like, you just have to like give this movie like one little bit.
Dude,
of,
I'll tell you
of-
what you can't
of
ruin
magic.
it with is with Libyan terrorists with an AK. and it tells you, man, don't go buy AK-47s from foreign markets, or they'll jam on you all the time.
The most unrealistic part about this movie. So they shoot Doc Brown.
That's
and
the most
murder him.
unrealistic part.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
No.
That an AK-47 jams.
Oh,
It's
okay.
absolutely the most unrealistic part.
Time travel is far in the rear view to that being the most unrealistic
Compared to
part.
that, dude, I'm like, nah, I know this movie is fake, dude. The AK jam, unbelievable, dude.
That's where we take it. That's where we take
That's
issue.
where I'm done. So they try to kill Marty. Like, after they kill Doc Brown, they try to kill Marty, like, to finish him off. And the gun does jam. And so they're like, it gives Marty a chance to like run into the time machine. He's just trying to get away.
Yeah.
Like, he's not trying to like time travel or do anything else. And it's like, even though it's like set up and like Shabak mentioned,
Doc was talking about he was going to take a trip, through time, and he's like, "Oh God, I almost forgot to take extra plutoniums
To get back.
Yeah, because I would be stuck."
Which is another one where it's like they
and he explains too about the plutonium, and Marty's like, "Are you saying this thing is nuclear?" And he goes, "No, this thing's electric, but it takes nuclear fission to create the 1.21 gigawatts, which everybody knows it's supposed to be gigawatts." They consulted with a scientist on this. I don't know the guy's name. He probably never confessed to it, but
His name was
but
Dr.
he said gigawatts when they.
Oh boy!
And Yeah, so maybe it was just a misstep for him, and he regretted his whole life, or maybe he just thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, he could have just told him the wrong. Yeah.
I think it's funny for him to say it weird and funny because scientists are quirky.
Yeah.
They have little weird inside jokes and stuff like that all the time. Like that's because I know, like, you're absolutely right. It is gigawatts, but that's like, I thought it was just him being eccentric. Like, they say things wrong and goofily, like, on purpose all the time, and he's clearly eccentric and crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, to have invented time travel, obviously. So I just took
I wonder
it
if he thinks it's
a joke.
I wonder if he thinks it's a GIF or a GIF.
Oh, Jesus, don't get Emmett on this. So when he goes back to 1955 and crashes into a barn.
Right. And see, this is another thing about, like, the time travel, that John T mentioned. It's absolutely true, right? He talked about, like, the forest and the trees. Like, that's what happens. Like, it's a big mall in this area. And I'm ashamed to admit that now I am the age to remember that the mall where we lived, Hamilton Place Mall, was way less developed, far underdeveloped than it is now. And, like, it was like there was a lot of fields still sort of around.
Yep.
And, like, him going back in time, instead of the mall parking lot, it's just like a farm.
Yep.
With like that crazy guys growing
Which is
pine
what would
trees.
happen if you went back in time to fucking 30 years or whatever.
Yep.
Like, it's
right.
So
He's
pretty
lucky
wild,
he crashed
man.
into a tree or something like that, right? Like,
Well, he ran over one of his
about
goddamn pines, and I know that's grounds for pulling out your fucking shotgun and start. So anyway, he starts blasting.
Sorry about your barn.
He's already mutated into human form. And the dad's like, "You goddamn mutate bastard!" He just shoots at him again.
Dude.
So then he like come crashing through the wall again, takes off, and he gets down the road and the car stops on him basically.
Yeah, the car fucking dies.
Wait,
and then
he slams on the brakes because he sees that they're just starting to develop the neighborhood that he lives in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He does what any normal kid would do when you're not smart. You try to drive home.
Yeah.
This can't be real. This has got to be fake, right? So he drives to his subdivision, like Leon Estates or whatever it's called, right? And it's just a subdivision being developed. It doesn't exist yet. And he realizes for the first time when he asks like some random bystander driving by, which always makes me laugh because there's a car that slows down and he's like asking for help, and like the old lady's like,
Listen, you gotta help me.
because he's got that goddamn life vest on.
He looks crazy, dude. Right. So he stashes the time machine and he literally walks to town because he realizes, okay, I'm actually in 1955. This is it. He takes off his Walkman and his futuristic 1985 technology, the camcorder, stows it in his car and hides it behind a big sign, and he walks like the 2 or 3 miles into town. And
Mr. Sandman, bring me a tree. Make her complexion like peaches.
like
cool
gas
shot of the
station.
town and shit too when he's like walking in the town. Like
Dude,
a big
so cool.
shot.
Now, they shot all of the 1955 stuff first, as far as the town is concerned, because it's a lot easier to dirty something up than it is to clean it.
That makes
so
sense.
like all the stuff in 1985, it looked like it was all dirty and trashed.
I mean, you go on all your little Jeep excursions and shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is what some of these towns and like these smaller towns look like when you get to their downtown.
Yeah.
It's just like these. It's like almost not touched by history. Like there's these little buildings, little strip malls. Like
that's a good way to explain it.
Except there's goddamn vape shops popping up everywhere.
Well, I mean, because the kids need it.
Yeah. It's social status. It should be on their Snap account.
Yeah, exactly. What?
So we get the Hill Valley, the version of Hill Valley, and before, like Shadwick and Chris mentioned, it was like disgusting. There was trash everywhere, bums sleeping on benches, but now it's pristine.
Yeah.
It looks so clean.
Yeah, you got
like there's
kids bouncing on spring shoes and
dude.
like
And-
moon shoes. I think that's what they were called back then.
And
dude.
Leaf, like in your notes, you have the full service gasoline, which is another thing. I think I barely remember. That must have been phasing out when we were itty bitty. And I remember there was a couple that still would do it. around here.
When you used to get gas, you could, and the guy in the movie drives up in the scene, and all of these workers come out like they're working for like the NASCAR or the F1 team. Dude, they're all running and they're like polishing the car and cleaning it and filling the gas up and doing everything. And the guy's just sitting in the car, dude. As a driver, you're just like a king,
those
man.
50 cars, the cars from the 50s, I fucking love those cars.
They're so pretty, dude.
They look so fucking
good looking.
Like,
they 100% agree, dude. Like, they're so good. And so, like, Marty picks up a guy throws a newspaper in the trash, and he picks it up, and he realizes, you know, the headlines and everything. He is indeed, like, this is the last bit of proof he needs. He knows he is stuck in 1955 somehow with a time machine.
And so, as Chris would do, Marty immediately tries to find a quick way to get to Las Vegas and put his sports knowledge to use.
And make a fortune in 1955 onwards, dude.
So he goes into what is it, a soda shop or shake shop or
it's a diner.
Oh,
For
diner.
all intents and
He walks
purposes,
in and the bartender or attendee, whatever, he's like, "What'd you do? Jump ship?"
Yeah,
what's with the life preserver, kid?
They keep to making the life preserver jokes or whatever.
It's a reoccurring joke in the film because in the 80s they had those puffy jackets that were sleeveless. Honestly,
I like them. They look good.
Do they still exist?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I've got one.
I've got one.
Yeah. I shouldn't work for this podcast, but my AC's out down here and it's goddamn 1,000 degrees.
Yep.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, reality sucks. Back to the Future we go.
Back to the Future. Marty has an altercation, you know, with the. It's very confrontational with the diner, with the chef or the guy running the diner, and like there's a huge miscommunication barrier because the way that you talk in 1955, the things that exist are completely different.
Got to call them dames, broads. You got to use those.
Yeah, you got to use that. He asked for one of my sister's favorite parts is he asked for a tab, and the guy was like, "If you want a tab, you got to buy something first." But tab is a drink. In the 80s, which does it still exist?
I don't think that one does anymore.
No, because I tried to get it for one of our shows. I forgot which movie it was in, where they had tab and whiskey or some shit. I can't remember. Anyway, it was for one of our movies or something we covered. But yeah, I couldn't find it. If you do find any tab, don't drink it because they've been out of business for a while.
Well, and plus a brand new tab tasted old anyway.
It's very true. It's not very good. But yeah, man. So he wants one in 1980 or 1955, of course, not there. And I'll be goddamned. Who's right next to him as he's sitting there is none
other than a young George McFly.
This was great too because it's showing Marty. Like, he's already gone and tried to call Doc Brown. He looked him up in the phone book. Doc Brown didn't answer, so he rips the page out, that pisses me off. I don't know why, but that's like people blowing grass in the street when they're mowing their yard. Just have some fucking common courtesy, please. But anyway, yeah, he sits down and he's stressed out, right? So he's like, he got his head down. And the camera pans over, and George McFly, who is practically the same age now, 16, 17 years old. Exact same pose.
Yeah, it's great. Great filmmaking.
Beautiful, dude. Yeah, it's so good.
And then they do this weird camera thing, like right after that shot where George is in the foreground, but he's out of focus. And then you see, like, as Marty realizes it's him, like his head kind of like comes out from behind, and he's in focus.
Right.
And it's just a cool shot. Like, you normally don't see that. I think it's actually kind of a no-no to have your main foreground out of focus like that.
Yeah.
But for that, it's great.
It's a great effect on not only that, because like not only is it cool, but it actually highlights the fact that the characters you saw before, which were older, where they had makeup on, like everyone was kind of older, like now they're young. And so it like as Biff like comes into focus, you recognize him, you recognize Marty's dad, George McFly, like and they're young, dude. Like
they do the same fucking basically dialogue back and forth, except for now it's homework instead of work.
Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think, McFly, think.
And it's the hello, McFly, bully.
Same old, dude.
Hey,
Things never change.
I noticed something that's very small in this scene when Biff comes in there and he says, "McFly," George balls his fist up.
Yeah, I saw
I
it.
had never noticed that before.
Because he's tensed up like he's
it's foreshadowing.
Right, I know, but I mean, like you can see, like he's fucking about had enough.
But
like,
also,
you're both right. It's just,
but also in the original script, instead of him ending up being a science fiction writer in the future, he ended up being a prize fighter.
Oh, okay. Oh, and they called him One Punch McFly.
Yeah.
I like that, dude. Yeah, I like that, man. So they have an altercation. Biff obviously bullies George McFly, and he leaves, and Marty's basically just almost too stunned to speak, right? Because he can't believe he's seeing his own father, like, you know, a young man, just being bullied, and
you do get a little pep talk from the future,
right?
Yeah.
Mayor. Now that's a good idea. I could run for mayor.
A colored mayor, that'll be the day.
Dude, he calls his shot too. He says, "You know what? I'm gonna be mayor one day, and
I'm gonna destroy the town and make it shittier, dude." 'Cause that's exactly what happened.
But here's where the confusion of time travel comes in. Would he have been mayor if Marty hadn't gone back in time and gave him the idea to be mayor? Because Marty's like, yeah, he's gonna make something of himself. He's gonna be mayor. And he's like,
yeah,
mayor. So does that mean that all this shit has happened? No.
Yes,
no?
That's what I took it as, because Doc Brown remember he knocked his head and woke up with the idea, which was the same shit that happened with Marty, right?
Okay. Okay.
Like, but just the only things that change, I think, is how the dance came about. Where if she's not in the car, Biff doesn't try to push himself on her, and now instead of him being pushed around, now he stood up to his bully, and his mom is just wet.
This is where you have to like stop yourself.
Slip slide in a way.
Yeah, that's why they don't make leather cars anymore.
This is where you have to stop yourself with the time paradox stuff, because you're absolutely right. Because you get to the point where, okay, there had to be a first time that this happened in the dimensions, but then if it happened once, then it always happened, right? Like you start to get
it's cyclical.
Like the Terminator. It's cyclical.
Like the Terminator.
That's exactly what you get.
Also, every time now when I hear Mayor Goldie Wilson, every time he goes, I like the sound of that. I think of That's My Boy.
That's my boy. Yeah,
That's my boy.
Sound of that. Yeah. But you do. So like he's trying to talk his dad. His dad's like, "Get away from me, weirdo! Like, stop staring at me," because his dad's like, "Who the fuck is this kid?"
But he also feels like George McFly, the father, feels embarrassed that he just basically got shook down,
pushed out.
He's humiliated, and Marty's sort of staring at him, not because he's ashamed or is watching what had happened. It's that it's
his dad, right?
It's his dad, but George takes it as like, "Stop looking at me." I don't want to be like criticized.
And
this
is when he's like, George like walks away and Marty's like following him, but this is like the whole realization of like Marty realizing this is my dad, and like so the way that this movie came about was, I think it was Gale was at his dad's house. I think you may have touched on this a little earlier, Shadwick, but he was going through his dad's yearbook and he found out his dad was class president. And then he thought to himself, I didn't know that. And then he's like, wait a minute. If me and my dad were in high school together, we wouldn't have hung out. Like, we wouldn't have been friends. And then, so that's a question I want to ask you guys right now. So if we went back and, say our parents are in high school, if that math works or whatever, would you guys be friends with your dads? Leaf, you go first.
Absolutely 100% not, dude. My father is a very intelligent, straight-laced, sort of no nonsense kind of person.
Always on time.
Always on, yes, always early for a lot of things.
You're on time, you're late.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I think people would disagree with that now. Like he's slackened up in his older age, but generally, yeah, like never late. You know, all about the business. He was always very, very like intelligent. Like I know his brothers and sisters. He grew up like, you know, somewhat on the reservation. Obviously, my father, you know, in Cherokee Indian, was he was a bookworm, man. Like his
well,
brothers
he's
and
super
sisters.
smart dude, yeah.
Super smart dude, and like his family, friends would always make fun of him for always like having his nose in like a book. Contrasted to me, bro, I am a comedian and a slacker and a goofball. My father would have took one look at me and been like, "Dude, stay away from this guy. This guy's a clown, dude."
So my dad was, you know, like I said, a musician, was in the band and stuff, and he kind of, from what I understand, kind of kept to himself a little bit. And I was pretty outgoing in high school and wanted to be cool and friends with everybody, but I definitely could see all of my fucking recycled Dana Carvey impressions would have not landed on him in 1965, and he would have been extremely annoyed with me. And I would have always been like, I think that Mike guy likes me, and he'd be like, I fucking hate that Chris kid. Is what I think. I think that's how I would have gone out. What about you, Shadwick?
Well, so my dad and I, we're almost exactly alike now. But
which means you'd hate each other. Well,
when he was in school, though, he had something happen, kind of like Roseanne, where he had a motorcycle wreck.
Okay,
and he was in a coma for a couple of weeks, I think.
Jeez,
wow!
And when he came out of it, his personality was completely different.
Oh my
god!
Wow.
So before that, he was like real reserved. He's like self-conscious, very quiet. Didn't ever talk to girls. Mm-hmm. When he woke up, he was like calling girls at school, like from the hospital, like, "Hey,
nice.
Like, hey, you come see me?" You know,
nice respect. Yeah. I mean, like, wow. I've met your dad. You and your dad, you are correct. You are 100% alike. Yeah. Like, obviously, Dad's a fucking awesome dude. But I thought that was a fun question to pose because me and John T were talked about it, and me and him both like kind of came to the same conclusion. It's like, if it's me now and them then, like, I don't think it works. Like, and I know that we're raised in a different era, but I mean, if you just took bare bones personality, I think that I would have been, like I said, I would have been like, cool, man, my dad likes me. And then that my dad would have been like, much like now, he'd be like, no, go away. Leave me alone. He's like, your phone number's been blocked for like 6 weeks. Stop texting me.
My father's definitely an introvert, and I believe the same with Chris's dad. If I had to judge their personalities, like they're not like they've done outgoing things because I think back then you were forced. Unlike now, you couldn't retreat to the internet like in your little shell.
Shout out our AOL episode.
Shout out, dude! Like you were in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. You were sort of pushed like out there. You had to become, even if you were introverted, you had to find a way to like interact with people. You couldn't survive necessarily. So I think like my father, Chris's father, were much less sort of, clownish and outgoing than Chris and I were. Like I feel like. They were very intelligent people, but they were
our sense of humor back then in the 60s would have been perceived as just fucking slackers, almost slack-jawed, but we would have been slackers galore for sure. So,
dude, Strickland would have had a field day with us.
Who's the comedian that would get arrested all the time back in the 50s or 60s?
Oh, I don't know.
Sam Kinison?
No, that was the 80s. You idiot. So, all right. Anyway, after that lovely discussion, we'll go ahead and pick it back up. So, as he's following his dad in the streets, he finds a nasty discovery, which...
He's a peeping Tom.
He's a peeping Tom trying to peep on... It's not his mom. Is it his mom?
It is his mom, yeah.
It is.
Okay,
yeah,
so...
Lorraine.
So he's in the tree. He was in the tree.
But Marty doesn't know that though.
Right.
That's what's funny.
But they do. She does have like a line. Is it earlier or is it later when she's like, "What were you even doing in that? Or what were you doing in the road anyway?"
It's like when she's telling the love story
early on, right? Like,
and he goes and he's watching TV when she's like, "What were you even doing?" He goes, "What?"
Yeah.
What?
You busted.
What?
Yeah.
What, Lorraine?
Yeah, you're busted.
Yes. Yeah.
So he finds out his dad is fucking peeping on his mom.
Perving on a dish.
He's perving on a dish. He slides out of the tree. He's about to get hit by a car. And now Marty has altered time. by saving his dad.
And dude,
he jumps in, dude.
I know.
And he pushes his dad out of the way. And I know you're going to talk about the head bump.
Yes,
this is
dude.
disgusting, dude.
Dad!
Still makes me cringe. When I watched it just recently, I was like, God, did he really hit his head? It sounded like his melon smacked on the ground.
I wonder if he laid his head back like gently and they sped it up, maybe.
I saw it. I slowed it down. You know me. I'm all about tucking the chin. I slowed it down. I don't think he makes contact.
Oh, dude, the sound effect is so realistic,
yeah, it's disgusting.
dude.
Yeah, if you've ever seen somebody fracture their skull or been, the guy that fractured.
I have seen that live.
You have seen that live.
I remember it better than you do.
Yeah, that's very true.
But
Hell of a bump.
But then the guy that hit him with the car, he gets out and yells into his wife, like, "None of these damn kids ran in front of my car."
It's like it's an epidemic that's happening. Kids are running out in front of this man's car.
Which I wonder.
It's because he's texting and driving.
Yeah, probably so. I wonder if Lorraine is putting on a little show for these guys.
Oh,
the window was wide open. The window's open,
and
you
she
make
did
a strong argument, Chadwick.
She seemed a little DTF, man. So this is when he meets mom, and we're not going to ask the question if we met our moms in high school if we would mac on them. We will skip that one for our audience sake and for our fucking sanity. But there's a bunch of fun lines here when he wakes up, and he hears. It's great camera work here too, right? Because you're in the dark.
Yes.
So he thinks he's just woken up from this terrible dream. And whose voice does he hear? He hears his mom's voice.
Dude. Same voice.
And then the fucking lights come on, and I'll be goddamned if she ain't a bombshell when that fucking makeup's off of her. Like, and he's like, oh, shit. Like, then he realizes, which is funny. I love that she keeps calling him Calvin.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously
Klein.
seen his underwear that is Calvin Klein.
I've never seen purple underwear before.
I know.
This is one of the scenes, dude, that like I didn't see, but my wife and I watched this movie together the first time before I did the synopsis. There is a scene. Okay, so he's got his pants off because his mom took his pants off like she's alone in her room.
Yeah, and he says, "Where are my pants?" And she says, "Over there on my hope chest."
Yeah.
He took them off, dude. She's such a freak, man.
Dude.
But then you hear from downstairs, like they had this huge altercation. They're like, he's horrified that his mother is in front of him and he's basically like naked. And she's like, you hear Lorraine's mom call from downstairs and she's like, dinner time or whatever it is. She's like, oh, it's my mother. Like, put on your pants.
Yeah.
And she throws him his pants and he starts to try to put them on. And in the mirror, she has this huge mirror.
Yes.
You could see her. Did you notice the shadow?
Yes, I did. She stops.
Put your pants back on.
She's trying to
An absolute dream.
An absolute dream, man. So now
She's
he's
a
got to
freak.
have the weird fucking dinner downstairs with his grandparents,
Yeah.
and his mom,
And her brother, which we didn't talk about earlier, he's always in jail.
Oh, that's a great line too that you pick up the second time around, or I guess you could pick it up the first time around if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you better get used to these bars.
Yeah,
it's her Uncle Joey is in prison constantly.
Oh my God, Joey!
Never says what he does, by the way.
He goes to jail.
Yeah,
He's a professional
for what?
criminal. He
Right.
decided to go after his passion, which was robbing and stealing. So,
Right. So we
I
have
think his
this funny
passion was just being behind bars.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so. He cries anytime we take him out, so we just leave him in there all the time.
That's funny. That's some fun little lines there. But to cut this dinner short, because basically it's a bunch of. I like the line too of "Do I know your mother?" And he's like,
Yeah, I think you
"Yeah,
might.
I think you might." Like looking over.
And then he's talking about they're watching the Honeymooners. He's talking about how he's seen
loves that
he's seen
episode,
that. And the kid's like, "We're
Yeah.
talking about it's brand new."
Yeah, homeboy is the older brother from the fucking Wonder Years.
Yes, dude. One of my favorite
Which
shows.
was funny if you think about it, because he always calls Kevin Arnold Butthead.
Yep, 100%. So
But-
I was just,
but
I
yeah,
was like,
they're,
wow.
And then there's the joke about, do you have a TV? And he's like, yeah, we have two. And he's like, whoa, you must be rich. And
Yeah.
they're like, he's just kidding with you. Nobody has two TVs.
I'll be like, yeah, I'd hate to tell you how many I got now in 2025. I got one in my fucking bathroom, guys.
Right, yeah.
We carry.
I got one in my office, the projector,
Yeah,
two
we
outside, living room, bedroom.
Not to mention laptops, iPads. We may be a little obsessed.
Screens everywhere.
Anyway, so as he's trying to get away, I think that she's trying to, his mom wants him to stay the night because, his mom is not there or something. And then she does the old woman trick where someone grabs your thigh and then your fucking like testicle jumps up a little bit and you're like, oh. Yeah. And so
I gotta go. I gotta go. Thanks very much. It was wonderful. You were all great. See you all later.
yeah, but it's his mom, so he's got to get the fuck out of there. And he's got to go beat off some very confusing thoughts in the car.
You got to ask yourself.
You mean like beat them off? Like,
yeah, that's what I meant. What did you think I meant?
Like Wonder Woman?
Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
he did. I don't understand what else it could have been.
You have to ask yourself, did this happen to George McFly, the original time, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So she got roped into his web, and so he probably just fucking next thing you know, he's just banging on old Darla.
Yeah, right. This is why you don't do the time paradox thing, because the way she tells the story originally is not the way that it goes in the actual past, right?
Yeah.
So again, don't mess with the
Or
time
she cleaned it
paradox.
up for the kids and been like, when he kissed me at that dance.
I think that's what it is.
Ooh, good call, guys.
So, yeah.
Dude, man, this movie's so good.
I think when George woke up, she was already stroking it. It's like, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. She was like, I just learned about 30 years from now, there's going to be this group called Run DMC. It's something called scratching. Let me try that.
She's like, do you want one finger or two?
So Marty escapes from his molesting mother and runs to the only other person he knows in 1955, Doc Emmett Brown.
Which thank God they didn't do any makeup on this one because he looks exactly the fucking same to me.
Same, dude. And he still does.
It's 100% that Austin Powers joke when he's like, "You look so young and virile, Frau. You look so." Right. He looks exactly the same. That's Doc.
The shitty thing is, I looked it up while we were watching it, and fucking Christopher Lloyd was 45 years old when he filmed this.
He was our age, but I'm telling you, I'll take that one. We look way better at 45 than he does.
Yeah,
so, we do. That's a W
I'll
for
take that.
For Be Kind.
I mean, of course, he didn't really have white hair at the time.
No, we don't know.
I think they did blonde up his hair a little bit in the 1955.
Give us this fucking win and let's move on.
Dude, yeah.
Let us take the W, all right?
He's old looking at 45 and we're not.
Normally looking at like Stallone and Schwarzenegger at 45.
Yeah.
We're like, God damn it.
Right, yeah.
But let's take this win and move on.
And so he arrives at Doc's house and immediately tries to tell him who he is, and Doc grabs him, drags him inside, and they start he starts conducting an experiment.
He's got this helmet on,
yeah,
and he's trying to read his mind.
Doc, I'm from the future.
Do you know what this means?
It means that this damn thing doesn't work at all.
He's not listening to a damn thing he's saying, that he's trying to explain he's from the fucking future. Yeah. And he finally gets him to he finally gets him to believe what he's saying, and he shows him
he knows what happens on his head, how he got the bandage.
And then so he shows him the flux capacitor on the video. What does he call it? His portable recording or his portable studio. Yeah, I think, which was kind of funny.
He shows it. He shows him.
No wonder the president's an actor. He has to look good for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny little nuggets in their conversation, but he does take Doc Brown to the DeLorean and actually shows him that his vision happens and it's real, and Doc's like, I finally made something that works, and he's celebrating that he's not
he does that same scream that he does in the Addams Family when he's howling at the moon.
That's awesome.
I forgot that he was Fester, dude. Yeah. I completely forgot about that role. But yeah, so he's super excited that he invented the time machine, but Marty's like, okay, listen, like I still need to try to get home, and Doc Brown has a meltdown. He has an absolute meltdown. He's like, all right, I you can't get back. There's no way to generate the power to send you back. It's impossible.
Yeah,
the only way.
Yeah, he tells him, because you got to prompt the one of the biggest lines. You know, he's like, it requires 1.21 gigawatts to set it off, and then you get the
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
It turns out plutonium is not just laying around. In 1955.
Oh, that's another thing. Like when he watches the video, he's like, "Why are you wearing like a hazmat suit?" He's like, "Oh, it must be from the nuclear fallout of World War III." I was just like, I died laughing because he just assumes like Doc's just like it's the future's just an irradiated mess, and so
turns out he's only about 60 years early.
This is Econ, let's rewind.
See you guys on the other side.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
And so he luckily
or 70. Fuck my math. I don't know. None of this matters.
The only thing that could generate enough power is the plutonium rods they don't have, or a bolt of lightning. Turns out,
and nobody knows when a bolt of lightning is going to happen.
And then you go, bing! Oh yeah, he's got that fucking piece of paper.
He reaches in his pocket. With Jennifer's 555 telephone number. Shout out to the 80s.
Yeah,
right?
555 every time,
dude. Right? Like, and he has the date and the time, and the plan is immediately formulated in 1 week's time or thereabouts. There will be a lightning bolt, and they'll rig a machine and figure out how to generate the power into the DeLorean, sending Marty back to the future.
Exactly. And so now we're set up, but he also tells him, like, because he can't fuck with anything, like, because he saw that movie with Ashton Kutcher, The Butterfly Effect. And he's like, you can't mess with anything, or you're gonna ruin the future. And then he realizes, well,
you haven't interacted with anybody, right?
And he's like, well, what had happened was,
turns out I'm about to be my own dad.
Yeah.
He's like Bradley Cooper in The Hangover. Like, oh, we fucked up.
Yeah. And so now he knows that he has to have his parents get together and kiss, because that's where his mom met his dad, and he fucked it up.
He does. And the proof of that is the photograph that he carried in his wallet of him and his brothers and sisters is starting to fade.
Which is just another fucking genius story element, because
so cool.
He has to stay there for a week. He's like, oh yeah, I can do 1955 for a week. I can do that.
But he's like, you gotta stay.
So you have a time frame, but there's no urgency really. So the introduction of the picture starting to fade out. It's like, oh, we gotta get this shit done. Like,
yes.
Like,
every time he pulls up the photograph, I'm just gonna put Nickelback's photograph on it and post.
Look at this photograph.
Everybody's just gonna unsubscribe immediately.
Look at this photograph.
We don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care. We're ahead of our time. It's fine, dude. But throughout the film, you do see the photograph like fading in and out, dude. Like it's fading out like it's slowly, and you do feel that. Like Shabbook's right. You feel that sense of urgency. You're just like, oh man, he's gonna fade away out of existence, and so it's imperative that while he's there, he undoes the damage to the timeline that he does, which obviously we know is impossible. Like, how do you undo all of your mistakes? Because he's already altered it.
Because of the butterflies and shit.
The butterflies and shit, right? Flaps its wings. And so Marty's like, okay, I've got to get my mom and dad back together. So he formulates a plan. And this scene makes me laugh more and more every time I watch it as time goes on. Doc Brown and Marty McFly, both of which don't go to the high school, go to the high school and try to
and I like the teacher, again, I saw this on a documentary too, so this wasn't my original thought, but somebody was talking today or in this time, and they were like, no one would look back in the day, or people nowadays would be like, why is that older scientist hanging out with that young kid in high school?
Yeah,
and in the 80s, we were like, yeah, it would be fine. Like, especially if somebody's like, older brother or something, you know, like how many times did we hang out with? I remember there was a girl on our street that she would date like some older dudes, and they would come down and play basketball with me and Leaf after they like left her house. Of course, we had no idea what she had done at their house, but probably would have had him wash his hands before he grabbed my basketball.
They were like, guess what we just did.
That's 2020, my friend.
That's 2020, my friend. But I mean, that's what I mean. Like hanging out with like older people or like whatever wasn't a big fucking deal back then. Turns out it is probably a bigger deal now. But anyway.
It's so that while they're in the high school, they're trying to formulate like a plan to get them Marty McFly and George McFly and his mom Lorraine back together, and he tells George he needs to ask out Lorraine, right?
She's into him, and he just doesn't know it. He's so money. He's so money. He just doesn't even know it yet.
And she doesn't.
He's her density.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know he exists, and so that's where the first altercation at lunchtime. He is sitting at the table, kids. With his Marty is sitting at the table with his father, George, and he's trying to convince him to ask Lorraine out, and that's where you get the first confrontation between Marty and Biff.
Yeah,
and wasn't there also? That's where he talks about he writes science fiction stuff, right?
Right.
Yes.
So he gives him, but he doesn't want anybody to read it because this is.
Because what if they didn't like it? I couldn't handle that kind of rejection.
Yeah.
Where have we heard that before, right?
Exactly.
And Marty's face changes during that scene. So good call, Shadwick.
Because he sees he's like shit.
He sees himself, and obviously he hates his father. He never connected with him. He doesn't respect his father for good reason.
Yeah, I don't know if he hates him, but he doesn't respect him for sure.
Right.
He definitely doesn't. And so this moment he was like, "Oh, maybe we're not that different," because even up until this point, he's like, God, my father's a loser. Even Doc Brown sees George McFly getting bullied, and he's just like, maybe you're adopted.
Yeah, he's got the old school kick me sign gag,
dude.
and they're kicking the shit out of him too.
Even the nerds are bullying George.
They were not phoning in those kicks,
and he's just trying to like laugh it off. Oh, okay, guys. Okay.
God,
it took me back to high school watching this, and I was like, I can't believe I didn't take that
stand
sign
up for
off
yourself.
my back. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought the whole time.
Why do you let those boys treat you like that? You gotta stand up for yourself.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes. You do get the first confrontation because he's trying to get George to ask Lorraine out. Biff, of course, is fucking perving on his future dish, and now Biff has set his sights on Marty, and I believe he has the killer line of "make like a tree and get out of here." Like the anytime somebody fucks up those lines because they're just big dumb bully, it always makes me laugh. It's low hanging fruit I enjoy to digest.
I'm sure you guys heard it, but my dad's version of that was always, let's make like a horse turd and hit the trail.
Nice.
Your dad's a class act, dude. We like that. So despite his best efforts, George is just too much of a loser, dude.
Right.
He refuses to ask out Lorraine. He's too scared, and also
loser.
Dude, like he can't ask Lorraine out, even though there's a dance coming up. We find out the Enchantment Under the Sea dance coming up, and George is not having it, dude, because you know why? His favorite TV program, Science Fiction Theater.
And hey, for those that don't understand this, he didn't have a fucking VCR. You couldn't record it. If you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah,
dude, I have to find out what happens to Dana Scully. Dude, this is me, man. I feel this, dude.
I was like, Leaf, you want to go hang out? And he's like, I gotta see what Scully and everybody's doing. And I was like,
I think I said it before. Saturday mornings, I would go out and be playing with my friends, and then I would scurry home and watch Saved by the Bell.
You're like, I gotta take a shit. I'll be right back.
Exactly. My mom said I had to be home at whatever time it was, at 10:45, and then I'd come back out. They're like, what happened on Saved by the Bell? I'm like, I don't watch that.
I've never even seen that.
What is that?
I've never even looked at another guy.
You want a fist in the mouth?
You want a fist in the mouth, man?
And so Marty, knowing that his father was a science fiction fan, shows up late at night.
Old move, Cotton.
With the hazmat suit.
Mm-hmm. With the hazmat suit, and puts the Walkman on his ears.
Right. Yeah. So the band Van Halen would not sign off on this. Only Eddie would.
Only Eddie would. So
that's why they had to write Eddie Van Halen.
Right. So
what the hell is wrong with him, dude?
Dude, people are just protect their shit and they don't want to have fun. People suck. The people take themselves way too fucking serious. We don't take ourselves serious enough.
Yeah. That's why we're all broke.
Yep, exactly. Anyway,
not broke,
I do like that effect though. Like, so every time his dad tries to say anything, he pushes play and it's just loud in his ears, and it's a headphone, so his dad can't fucking figure it out.
Which I don't know if this is actually true. I heard or read a while back that they used to play Enter the Sandman as like a torture method to like Middle Eastern hostages, because they thought it was like devil music.
Really?
Or they thought it was like the sounds of the devil.
Why are we focusing on them and not focusing on these goddamn Libyan terrorists that are obviously the problem?
Go!
So now after he's pulled the ruse, now he's ready, and so now he's going to
appreciate the ruse.
George is terrified, and so he realizes, he has to ask Lorraine out, and he begs Marty for help. Marty sends him into the diner with a list of things to say, and it's actually almost going well, dude. He's talking. He walks up to Lorraine. He's like, "You're my density. I mean, my destiny." Like he can't even read his own handwriting. I thought that was hilarious. By the way, like
she's like, "Wait, don't I know you?" And he's like, "Yes."
Yes.
I'm George McFly. I'm your density. Like he fucks it up twice.
Yeah, and her friends are like, "Oh my God, Lorraine, will you please get him away from us?"
Is that a thing? You said it twice.
Yeah.
She's not into you.
She's not into you. Can you go away?
And
God,
right when she sort of starts to swoon, when he was like, "You're my destiny," he gets it right. You could tell, like, her face demeanor changed.
She's like, "Someone's paying attention to me? Awesome."
Mm-hmm.
I love attention. I will have your babies forever.
Turn into a gusher.
They had to remove
that. Wait a minute. My shades are already on. All right. Yeah. And so just then, Biff shows up.
Hey, McFly!
To ruin everything, man.
Always,
the plan's going so well, man.
And man, he really ruins it this time.
Yeah,
he really does. But as he's approaching and humiliating George McFly again, Marty is there watching close by at one of the and trips him, dude, and he falls down. Biff has already had enough of Marty's shit. That's like the second or third time in the film he's messed with him.
And I don't know if this is like some Bane type camera work, but they make they make Biff look tall like as fuck.
Because when he stands up, he like just keeps growing.
Yeah,
dude,
it's really cool.
Did
you guys catch that one of his gang members or whatever is Billy Zane?
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
He's actually credited like in the IMDb, if I'm not mistaken.
Funny. That's cool shit.
Yeah, as his name is Match.
Okay.
So it's Billy Zane. Also shout out to Casey Smezko, sorry if I mispronounced your name, is 3D. The guy with the 3D shades on, like,
dude, the entire time. Yeah,
the entire time, dude. I noticed that. I'm like, what's that guy at the shades?
And this is actually only the second biggest dick that Billy Zane ever was in movies.
Oh Jesus!
But, so him and Marty finally like have it out. Marty just does the old school like look over there with the right cross, like in Biff's chin, and it like stuns him. And Marty runs out of the diner, obviously with Biff and his thugs in chase, and we get the scene.
Dude, one of the best scenes in all movie history.
Yeah, and so this is the one where he has a makeshift skateboard, right? Like so they used to have.
What are they called?
They're called a box something.
Yeah,
so basically, it was made out of
car?
maybe. I don't think these weren't soapbox cars. They were. We'll have to look it up, and maybe I'll put it in post, or maybe I just won't because fuck it. But anyway, they basically were a skateboard, but it had like a place for you to hold on to the top, so it was way more sturdy.
It was like a scooter.
Yeah, and it just looks like it was just made out of leftover wooden boxes.
Yeah, like,
shit,
like apple boxes or something.
Right, and so like he rips the top part off, and now he's got his Nash skateboard from 1985 that I used.
And the kid's like, "Oh, you broke it."
Yeah, I know. And so, like you said, this is one of the greatest scenes ever.
I wonder how much influence Spielberg had on this, because this is very Indiana Jones.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. And I'm sure he did. I'm sure that was.
I mean, you've got
the whole thing. This is the most action like in the film.
Well,
like
they actually spent like 6 weeks filming this scene because one of the skateboard wheels sparked at one point, for real. And Zemeckis was like, "Oh shit, we got to put that in." Like so they did a bunch more like pickup shots and added where the wheels are sparking or whatever.
Where they got the close up on the wheels.
But yeah, you're right. Like he's on the front of their car. He's still on the skateboard. They're pushing him, and they're like pushing him toward a big manure truck.
They're gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah, they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him a la horseshit.
Yeah, in broad daylight, in front of everyone.
But yeah, he does the cool Indiana Jones escape where he jumps up on the hood of the car, runs through the cab, jumps off, lands on the skateboard, stops it, and then you get the oh shit.
Yeah, and then they fucking. So a side note on this, on the documentary, the Back in Time doc, Michael J. Fox got to watch this with Princess Di in the theater, and so they were dude. And they were told, obviously, like, you can't shake their hand or you can't talk to them. There's all these fucking rules, right? and he said that as soon as that shit thing happened, like, she like doubled over and started like laughing her ass off or whatever. And it was at that point in time that they decided to murder her.
And that was it. So Biff is defeated like summarily, dude, and he wants revenge on Marty. And this whole scene has the opposite effect of what Marty wanted. Lorraine watched the whole thing, dude. And at the end, she's more hard up than she's ever been in her entire life, dude. Like, I could feel the heat.
Chris, what's the planet in Star Wars that you like to talk about?
Oh, she was moisture than Dagobah. Marshy wetland.
I hate that.
Oh boy,
dude, you could see like even my wife was like, man, she's like hard up.
Yeah, she's in it now. Or she was in it before, but she's really in it now.
She's really in it, and so she doesn't even remember George McFly.
Yeah.
Oh man, she's obsessed with Marty. Like, who wouldn't be? Did you see that action scene? Like, she stood up to the bully, which everyone knows. You know, Biff's a bully. Like, it's no secret.
Yeah,
he constantly sort of molests her, like, throughout the film. Like, he's grabbing her and like
says,
just
you know you want it and all that. Yeah.
Dude,
is that where yeah, didn't she smack him in that scene in the diner?
It was in the. No, it was. I think it was at lunch. Like, he's like grabbing her. Like, we skipped over it, but like he's just like, we all know Biff's a dickhead. So like that's just like securing it. And so Marty's standing up to him, and then in that insane action scene,
and dude,
like
he's got to go. Now he's going to go to Doc Brown's house because he's like, dude, I'm fucked up. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Get me out, dude.
But goddamn, if there isn't a fucking knock on the door, and she's tracked him down to this lonely scientist's house in the middle of nowhere.
This scene is one of the most awkward scenes in the film because she's like, I want you to like take me to like the Enchanted Under the Sea dance. And Doc Brown is like in the scene there, and they even get close to him, and she just doesn't care. She's just like, Marty, like, it's so like
it's so funny. Like Doc Brown, like he's back behind them, and he's making all these like wide-eyed faces, like at the stuff she's saying. It's so damn funny.
Like, yeah, dude, it's good shit. But she wants him to take her to the dance.
But Marty hasn't given up on the original plan. He's like, okay, I'll take you to the dance.
Life literally depends on it.
It literally depends. His existence depends on it. So he comes up with another plan, right?
Yeah, because you look at that picture and fucking his brother's gone now.
Fading more. Yeah,
which he may have just stopped there. And I think, like, you know, I don't know, say like somebody could, if you could just eliminate the brother, maybe you just. Now we move forward.
Maybe now if we can stop it right there and get it out the way.
Yeah, as you move forward, like Shadow did in his past, obviously.
His brother was a ginger too, so.
I mean, you know,
it's not like you're wasting a soul.
Right. So we end up in a situation where Marty's has to come up with a new plan, and his plan is to he's agreed to take Lorraine to the dance, but he's going to
he's gonna make George be the hero, right? Like
he's gonna make George be the hero, but he's gonna have to like force himself upon his own mother.
Yeah,
that's the plan. But I mean, that's just, you can even tell
he didn't think this plan through because he obviously didn't, or maybe he was too young to read what those eyes were saying. Those eyes, there was no in those eyes.
There was none. It was how many times? Okay, guys.
All right,
all right. I got. Let's just do this right quick.
She had given me my precious eyes.
Shadwick, you've seen it. I've seen it. Chris has seen it. You know, when a woman, it's a sure thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is a sure
thing. The game
thing.
on eyes.
The game on eyes. We've all been there. You've seen it. She had those eyes.
It makes me
for Marty.
It makes me feel cheap.
Yeah. or when she gives you the game on eyes at the bar, and then you drive her home, and you cut back to our Batman episode when you're trying to keep her awake in the car. God damn it! No, I spent fucking $60 on your goddamn 4 drinks.
$70 if you count the pill.
Yeah.
You don't care for that at all?
You put the pill into a drink, and then
Poor Bill Cosby. Yeah, he fucking didn't read this. He didn't read the room on this one because his advances are not going to be pushed away.
No, they won't. But that's his idea, right? So
Right.
He convinces George to go along with it. The plan is this: he will force himself or be an absolute jerk to Lorraine, and he will have George McFly come in and save the day, right? To basically come in, punch out Marty McFly,
Fake
or
punch him out
basically
and, like,
fake
yeah, be
punch
the-
him out.
be
Like
the hero.
they've staged, this whole hero like kind of idea. And George, being an idiot, doesn't ever question why Marty's going to do any of this for him. But like he's with it because George's starting to get with the idea now.
Well, George, he has to. He was told by Darth Vader from the Vulcan planet. He's got.
He's gonna melt his brain,
dude. Do you want your brain fucking melted, or you want to hook up with his chick? I mean, pretty easy.
Yeah, you want to get your little carrot wet, or do you want your brain melted?
Yeah, it's a pretty easy.
It's a
choice,
no-brainer.
So, yeah. Either way.
And so the plan is set in stone, and we go to the night of the enchantment under the sea. And so before the dance, Doc Brown is making the final preparations to send Marty home, Back to the Future.
Yeah, and apparently you
They're
need
setting
a
up.
goddamn permit to do anything in this fucking past and in the future. Like,
You do,
why can't
you
you just
do.
hang up fucking wires and shit in the middle of town without being scrutinized?
You know what's funny about that scene? I didn't realize it. This is the first time I caught this.
I think I know what you're going to say. Is the first time I caught it too.
Yeah. So you say it, Shelby. Go ahead. So, Doc Brown is harassed by a police officer,
Yeah,
right?
the cop's asking him for his permit, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I think I've got it right here." And then the camera's actually on like whatever Marty's doing, but if you look back, Doc is bribing the cop. He's like, I think I got my permit right here, and he's just like giving him money.
Giving him money.
He's
Okay.
pulling out his wallet.
Yeah.
Just giving
That's
him
funny as shit. Well done.
Dude, yes, I didn't notice that to this last time that I watched it. But to what Shadwick said, his other point, what Marty is doing is slipping a letter into Doc's coat pocket.
Because he's trying to warn him because he can't. He tried to tell Doc several times, like, dude, you're getting killed at this point in time.
Yes.
But
It's
Doc's
so
like, I'm not
sad.
going to do it because I'll interrupt the future because he's hard on about like you can't fuck with the past.
He doesn't want any time paradoxes happening.
Yeah, and so Marty does his best and says, "Don't open this till 1985." Like, so it would be like it does the least amount of damage because you may just open it right before it happens. So then who cares?
Right. So you don't know, you're not influencing anything. You don't have any emotionality. It's really a well-written
Also,
piece.
it's a big night for Marty. I mean, you're gonna have to force yourself on your mom. Your existence depends on it. If you don't get back in time, you're going to die or be stuck in this reality and fade away to nothing. Like, there's a lot going on. Like in this,
so much happening, dude. Yes, exactly. So
do you think if he ended up going through with it with his mom, he would just be like a mutated form because he would be his own bastard child?
He'd have like webbed toes or something.
He would look like a Morlock.
He really Marty just Cronenberg's his own existence.
Moist of the moistless.
Yeah, that's what he would be, man. So all right, man. So it's we got it. The stage is set. Right.
The stage is set, like, so while the preparations are being made to send Marty home, Doc Brown's working on, like, all the science. Marty has the dance to attend. He picks up Lorraine and is
She's
driving.
looking fine, unless she's your mom. She's not looking so fine.
Right, and what they do is, before they go into the dance, they quote-unquote park, right?
Mhm.
This is what they call it, I guess, in the 1955. They park. For all the rest of it, it's known as
going up to the point.
Yeah.
You're gonna go neck in the car.
Yeah, right.
Talk,
like
talk
everybody's
talk about the first thing that pops up.
And this is where we get one of my favorite scenes, because despite Marty's mom, like in the future, we get this younger version of his mom who's just smoking and drinking. And she's like, and she even tells him, she's like, Marty, it's not like this is the first time I've ever done this before.
Yeah,
I'm
you're like,
you
damn,
whore.
girl.
Damn, your mom is a total
I'm like,
slut,
damn, that's
dude.
hot.
Do I smell a whore?
Yeah, dude. But he does.
She's with it.
This was actually, I don't know why I didn't pick this one up before, but he throws that you shouldn't be drinking, like don't drink, like so he's trying to like kibosh the alcoholism in the future here.
Yes.
Like, which is a nice little line. He would
It's
not
good.
be welcome to Booze of the Week. She would though.
He would.
Dude,
She
Lorraine,
would.
Lorraine, shouts
Old
out.
school. Old school Lorraine, holler at us,
Holler
dude.
at us,
Like
y'all.
from 1955, dude.
But
like, yeah.
so she comes on to him, and when she gives him the kiss,
Basically, this was the scene that like saved the movie, because
Really?
yeah, because if she was not completely turned off by that, then it really is like an incestuous.
and such.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for the night. That's what apparently they ran into a lot of problems pitching this movie.
Yeah.
Was people just kept calling it the incest movie, and it's
Yeah.
it's not. It's kind of tongue in cheek. And from what I understand, I think this originally was supposed to be like a skin flick almost, like the original incarnation before it got to this, like because it was in the vein of all of those 70s and whatever. Like,
I didn't hear that.
like kind of high school comedy, whatever, like goofy.
Yeah.
I think this was supposed to be pretty fucking goofy, the original thought process for it. And then when they finally started maybe pen to paper in it, they're like, no, we can make this good.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so she's turned off, which is great. It's fantastic.
Which is
and,
great.
and,
And then
and
the-
right on cue, because George is supposed to open the door at this point and say,
And he
"Hey,
does.
you get your damn hands off her."
Yeah, but instead of George,
Nope.
it's our boy Biff Tannen
course.
with
He
his
ain't
crew in tow. He ain't done, dude, because he owes Marty McFly owes him $400 for wrecking
And
his
beating.
Yeah, dude, his Buick Studebaker or whatever it is that he's driving.
Whatever the devil the kids are driving now.
He's going to take it out of his ass.
He was, man.
But
So-
then he looks back in the car and he sees Lorraine with her cleavage hanging out, and he's like, "You take care. You guys take care of him. I've got something to handle here."
yeah, he says, I think.
And
I
it
think-
gets really fucking uncomfortable.
very uncomfortable. Yes, like in two different scenes, you get him going in after Lorraine, and then the other dudes are chasing Marty.
The thugs carry Marty off,
Right.
And Biff forces himself upon Lorraine, and we get a sort of a mishmash of scenes
What's
here
happening.
Yeah.
of what's happening. So the thugs throw Marty into a random trunk and slam it shut, and meanwhile, unfortunately
Yeah.
for poor George McFly,
George has wandered upon this.
he's thinking, well, there's the scene. It's all set up. There's Marty assaulting Lorraine. I'm supposed to be the hero. And he throws open the car door and he points at Lorraine and her assaulter with the line he's supposed to, and he does his best. And it's so funny because it's an actor acting like he's acting
Right.
in the
Which
film.
has got to
It's
be
so
hard to
good.
do. Like that's
Dude.
But Biff,
He nails it.
Biff gets out.
Get your damn
hands
off her.
Hey, you get your damn hands off her. Then
Mm-hmm.
Biff gets
Yeah.
out, and you see Lorraine, and I don't know, dude. Maybe it's just me, like, turning into an old pussy, but, like, it almost makes me, like, tear up when she's like, "George, help me."
Yeah, I know. Like there's like urgency in her voice.
Yeah,
and face.
there is.
Like,
Like,
She's scared.
pure terror.
yeah, dude.
And, like, Biff's got him, like, he's got his wrist turned around, and like, he's about to break his arm or whatever, and
he's laughing, dude.
Yeah, and he looks back at
Because he's
Lorraine.
drunk too. She said that, oh, you're drunk, Biff.
Yeah.
So he's hammered.
And then you see, just like we talked about in the diner, where as soon as like Biff called out McFly, like he balled up that fist,
Yep.
and dude fucking clocks him.
he fucking delivers one, and then that's fucking good night, nurse.
A good,
Dude,
good sound effect on that punch too.
Yeah.
Yes, the sound effect is good, and you almost get the Jean-Claude Van Damme like multiple like punch like reeling scenes where it cuts from a couple of different angles, dude, and it really feels good. Like they really hammered that scene in, and this is a transitional period for George McFly because this is where he changes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
One moment. So let that be a lesson to you kids. You don't know who you punch. It may change your life.
It's not.
Yeah. There's a place for violence in your lives, kid.
The thugs that throw Marty into the trunk don't realize of this random car, by the way, don't realize it's the car of the band that's playing in the Enchantment.
Token
Under
up
the
on
Sea.
the fucking. They're taking a break. They're smoking a little of the reefers.
Yeah,
they are. Before they're token up for the show, which I mean is
smoking them tweeds.
Unlike most bands don't use drugs before they play.
No one uses drugs
right before they play their gig. But like 4, 5, 6 black guys, and they're huge, get out of like the car. And despite the initial racial slurs that are hurled upon them, they chase off Biff's thugs easily because they're cowards.
Yeah, don't they say like they don't want to mess with any reefer heads or something?
Reefer heads, which is a shout out to Reefer Madness, dude.
We have to do that watch along. I'm pretty sure that's public domain by this point. We need to do a watch along watching
we
that
can
shit.
do it. We can do Reefer Madness, and we should do it. And it's
see this important film now before it is too late.
But as you know, as they're chased off, one of the guys he's getting unlocking his trunk, but he cuts his hand, and unfortunately he's a guitarist, and I can tell you if your guitarist cuts their hand, it's a bad fucking day for you because you can't do shit.
Did you go to that Tremont Tavern thing when I
was there for part of it when Matt cut his hand? Yeah,
he was playing keyboards.
He's just bleeding all over his keyboards.
The guy smearing blood all over.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, that's the guy that does the booze of the week, like intro for us.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy who made. He's an
cut
incredible musician, and he cut his hand. He was bleeding all over the place while he was. I don't even know how did he cut his hand.
He cut his hand because he had lost weight and he was trying to cut a notch into his belt, and the knife slipped and cut his finger.
The story I got is I thought that he was going underneath the couch. We had a recliner and it clamped on his hand. But either one,
so nobody knows.
So either one, it's a good story. But anyway, they're like, well, we can't finish the dance because you have to finish the dance because they have to fucking kiss at the dance. So Marty McSuperfly is like, well, I can play guitar. And, cut to him back on stage because he says, I know chords and this 50s music's easy shit. So let's go.
And just a little insight into Chadwick. He's playing the song "Earth Angel."
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember those commercials? It would you could buy like tapes or CDs with like all these old ass songs.
Yeah.
And one of those was playing "Earth Angel," but I always heard it as like "Her Thangel," and I was like, "What the fuck is a thangel?"
I thought you were going to go with Earth Anal, but that's fine. Either way.
And then at the ripe age of 12 years old, Chadwick was admitted to rehab by his parents.
I like yours better.
Yeah. So
Earth Anal.
But this actually, when me and Matt Stevens were in a band together, we played Earth Angel into Johnny Be Good at all of our shows because of this movie. But so
shout out, man.
Yeah. So anyway, they're playing Earth Angel, and you want to get the kiss.
Did Matt kick over the amp?
No, because we own the amp. So
this is probably one of the most important scenes in the movie because Marty he has the picture stuck on his guitar, and he's watching himself fade out of existence because the story's not finished. Like his mother told him in the beginning, they kissed at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and despite her having basically Florence Nightingale syndrome from her dad running over, Marty's father, it was really the kiss at the dance that sealed it, and they haven't kissed yet. And so Marty
his hand's becoming transparent. He's fucking up the chords. And these are chords in 50 songs. Guys.
So the shot where the picture is on the neck of the guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
to make that work, they actually built like an oversized like guitar neck and put the picture on it because it because it wouldn't work
right
in reality.
Oh, that is awesome. And so like he's playing and his parents haven't kissed yet, and he's starting to fade out of reality.
I don't see any piss.
Dude, he even he holds his hand.
I don't see any kiss.
He holds his hand in front of his face, and it's fading out, and he's disappearing.
Because his George and Lorraine are starting to dance, and then this other fucking dickhead cuts in, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, George, you've got to but he doesn't know, and then so finally, as the song starts to build a little bit, it's starting to fade and get a little distorted, then George breaks it up. He fucking throws homeboy down, and they kiss, and then the fucking song crescendos up real big.
As soon as they kiss, he stands back up super fast.
Dude, yeah, I love that. It's like the Michelangelo and the Stewart. Unless you guys like pizza,
That's exactly. That's good. That's good.
He comes back to life instantly when they kiss, and so he looks at the photo, and his brother and sister fade back into reality, and he's fully so he realizes
he's like, man, I gotta go back and see these sad sacks again.
I know. He's like, can you guys back it up to where the siblings don't come back and it's just me? Or
okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Dude,
so yeah,
it's a satisfying scene for the audience as well, because you realize everything's going to be okay.
Well,
right?
you feel the finality here,
part.
but you forget too, because when I watched it back, you know what's happening, you know what's coming, but you're there's this relief. Oh man, cool, he's saved, and really in the movie you kind of forget he's still got to go. Back to the future because
you're 100% right, Nick.
You also forget that before he goes back, he has to invent more black music.
He does.
That's right.
That's right.
Because you forget so much that they have time for him to play a little ditty.
He does, and so he just tells them, which is funny because it is like a blues riff. Everything he says on there, from what I understand, is pretty true. What the song, this 100% would be, and I've seen it, I've done it. This happens with musicians. You can be like, hey, I'm gonna play blues riff, blah blah blah. Just follow me, and you're like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, watch me for the changes.
Yeah, all that shit.
Right.
It's true. It happens. So he does, and he starts
Marty's
playing Johnny Be Good.
Marty steals a legendary song from Chuck Berry.
Yes. Marty Presley steals a song from. Wait, hold on.
I want to say the first time I heard Johnny Be Good, I think Johnny Rivers did it.
Yeah,
which was a white guy, but was Chuck Berry the original?
Yeah, from what I know. Chuck's the one that wrote Johnny Be Good, from what I understand. This was back also in the Wild Wild West too, where you could write a song and I could hear the song you wrote, and then I could go play it and record it, and it's completely legal because they didn't have copyright as it is now in music.
Elvis did that a lot with Righteous Brothers,
all of this. He didn't write any of his songs. It's just, but he was a fantastic performer. Not taking anything away from him.
No.
But anyway, so he starts playing Johnny Be Good, and you have the whole Marvin Berry calling his cousin Chuck.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs uses this line all the time, and he calls his cousin Chuck Berry. Obviously, shout out to Chuck Berry's song "Ding-a-ling," which is a good one too.
My ding-a-ling, I want you to play with my ding-a-ling.
This act is over.
I do like that you do have closure from the parents. They're hugged up on each other. They thank, Marty for helping him out and blah, 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 and says, hey, he's got to go home and whatever. So he's bouncing. And, of course, nothing bad's going to happen here. So, here we go to our lightning strike final scene. You've only got to get this down to the fucking second. So I don't know what possibly could go wrong.
My favorite part about this, speaking of me always being late, is that Doc Brown calls out Marty for being late. And he's like, what, am I going to go back to 1985 dressed like this? No way. It's you're lying, dude. You literally just played a whole concert, dude.
Dude,
You're just lying.
He always wanted to play the dance. so he got to play the dance.
Yeah,
you know?
he did.
Like,
Well, in the very beginning of the film, he laments.
It was on the index card.
It was.
In the very beginning of the film, Marty does lament that he's never played in front of. He tells Jennifer, he's like, I'm never going to get to play in front of anybody like ever in real life. And that's why he went so ham excitedly, because that's the first performance he ever did in front of actual people. And so he was
I'm telling you,
it,
musicians, stay fucking ready. You never know when somebody drops out and you're at a concert.
I never wanted. I had no inclination to try to be in a talent show, but I don't remember us having tryouts for a talent show.
They used to. We did. I know we did in elementary school and in middle school. And
they wanted to see.
You had to be absolute ass.
Yeah, you did, or you had to do something nefarious, and that's really what it was about. It's like in a talent show, you had to prove that, like, they wanted to see what you were going to do. They just weren't going to let you be like, hey, I have a talent, I'm going to go up there and do something ridiculous. They had to make sure that what you were going to do was, like, legitly a talent. So you had to, like, weed out all the weirdos, because even, back when we were kids, and I'm sure in 1955 and on, there was always weirdos that wanted to go up and do some trolly bullshit.
I would have been like,
yeah, exactly.
That's personal.
And they're like, "Oh, Shadwick, you're too damn loud. I'm sorry."
So you do get this scene. I don't want to go. Everybody's seen this, but the lightning strike scene where it's just full of anxiety. You got a branch falling. The line comes unplugged. It gets plugged back in. Then it's like, now there's not enough slack to plug it back in, and
dude, it's just pure anxiety the entire time. One of the things that we do need to mention is the fact that Doc Brown finds the letter that Marty had put in his jacket pocket, and
he's like, "What the fuck, Marty?"
And that's where you get that Family Guy parody. Like, the Doc's up there and Marty's trying to tell him, I have to tell you about the future.
Exactly,
no,
right?
Tell you about your future.
And so Doc, the reason that Marty tries to yell up at Doc at the clock tower while he's trying to repair the device to send Marty home is because Doc Brown rips the letter up that Marty had wrote. He's like, dude, I told you I don't want to deal with the responsibility of a time paradox or messing up the future. What's happened is supposed to happen. I can't deal with this, but Marty's trying to save his life. It's his friend, man. It's a really
for sure.
intense moment.
And it's sad too because they keep having that, like, I'll see you in the future, and he's like, I hope you're right. Because he's like,
the whole time, dude.
You're like, because to Marty, this could be the last time he sees Doc, and
and it will be when he goes back to the future. Doc will have been dead, but Marty comes up with another plan. He gives himself, being Marty, he gives himself plenty of time. 10 extra minutes.
10 minutes.
He is 10 minutes back, and he's going to try to warn Doc, but God damn it.
And
he's not there in time.
I love when they do this in a movie where it's obviously they've shot the same scene from different angles.
Yeah,
because it's exactly the same, but you're seeing it from a different perspective this time. I love that shit.
I like that scene because you see what happens to the Libyans. Because when he goes back in time, it's from his perspective. You don't see what happens to the Libyans while they're chasing him in their Scooby-Doo van, but they crash into like a 1-hour photo booth or some shit like that.
You guys know that they had created this whole effect about like going through time, and they ended up not using it. I think because of budgetary issues, but they end up using that. The exact same effect in, I think, a Star Trek movie not long after that.
Probably. I mean, that makes sense. I think that what they did with the effect, I love the fire where the wheels were. Is like, cool.
What they wanted to make it feel like that it was just like instantaneous. So So you're at one point in time, 1 second, and the next second,
blink, and then
you flash, and you're back. Yeah, it's so cool, man.
It's cold, damn cold.
Exactly, man. And so, unfortunately, we witnessed Doc being murdered a second time. His past self goes back in time. The Libyans crash.
Or
Marty runs to check on Doc, man. Like, he's been shot and he reaches down and he rolls Doc over. This part makes me laugh every time because I know he's alive, but like he rolls over and Doc's eyes are just like he's like, why are your eyes open if you're still alive, dude? He still looks dead. Everybody knows in the movies if you turn somebody over and their eyes are open, they're
fucking dead.
dude.
Yeah, dude.
Right? But he starts to blink. Dead. Yeah, exactly. Chadwick's been dead for 15 minutes. It's fine. He'll catch up. So, stop doing that, dude. And so Doc starts blinking and gasping for air, and Marty
you
reaches
guys
down.
know when I go, it's gonna be like this.
Same.
Yeah,
same for all three of us, right?
It is what it is.
Marty opens up Doc's science jacket or hazmat suit, and he's got like a bulletproof vest on. And it turns out, like, immediately he's just like, he can't understand what happens. Doc reaches in his pocket and pulls out Marty's letter, and it's taped
together. Yeah, dude.
He's like, it's like, what about all that not messing with the future stuff? He's like, I just decided, fuck it.
Yeah.
He literally said if there was an F word in Back to the Future, that's where it would belong. Dude.
Yeah, he said, fuck it, man. And I mean, it worked out. And so now you get your fucking bow neatly tied. The future's fucking great and grand. And then you get his mom doesn't drink. His mom and dad have a great relationship.
You get the same thing. He wakes up where he's like sleeping on his face in that same position. Yep. And then like he goes downstairs and like I said, like everything's changed. Like his brother is wearing a suit, getting ready to go to the office.
Yeah. Save some for the fishes, huh, Pa? That's what it reminds me of.
The sister's got like tons of boyfriends because she's a hooer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like her mother.
Dude, and her mom's cool with it. Like she's like, dude, go be you. Let your freak flag fly.
And then like here come the mummies.
Yeah, there it is.
And so mom and dad are back. Marty McFly is a successful science fiction author. And mom is thin. She's in good shape.
She
doesn't
on the
drink
sauce,
or smoke. Yeah, she looks good.
And the icing on the cake is Biff is their bitch.
Yeah.
He is. Despite the fact that he is.
Yep.
Baby back, bitch.
The fact that he's like that he tried to sexually assault Marty's mom, he's still
around. Well, they need somebody to push around. They need some muscle. He could do a hell of a wax job, but you got to do 2 coats. Don't fucking try to squirrel me on it.
No, I'm about to start the second coat.
I'm about to start the second coat, Mr. McMahon. Can I get you some coffee?
Not only that, Marty's girlfriend shows up, so he's still with her, and he has the vehicle of his dreams parked in the garage, dude. The truck from the very beginning of the movie,
why
dude.
is it parked diagonally in the garage, though?
That pissed me off, too.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I think that's OCD. Yeah. That's our OCD. I'm like, bro, park it straight.
Damn it.
I'm going to assume Biff did that as a passive-aggressive thing, now that he's basically a bitch.
That's a good point.
So,
that's what I think.
Yeah, so I'm
going to make him have to pull up and back up once.
Yeah, and so what he's going to have to do now, he's about to take his girlfriend out to the lake. His mom knows about the lake trip now because he's told her all this stuff. Like she's
even winking at him. She knows.
Dude,
it's getting late.
knows. And so and everything's great. And then the movie's about to end, which I found out. So
she's like, Marty, don't forget to eat her a little bit.
No, come on, dude.
Chicks, they feel bad. I go down on him for a little bit. And they're like, he's not that bad.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. So Doc suddenly returns, saying that Marty and Jennifer's kids are in danger. And so they're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
What, we become assholes?
Yeah.
This is worst fear.
And so they go in the car. And what I found out was this, per the writers and everything, was a throwaway. This was not a bait for a sequel, per them. I don't know how it's not a bait for a sequel, but they said this was just going to be kind of they're still at it, goofy ending, because I guess they didn't know how successful the movie would be. I can
see that.
They didn't. I can actually see that because in 1985, when this movie was made, it's like, hey, we'll put in this part at the end, so it's like they're still traveling through time, right? Like it's not a To be continued moment.
So that was the last nugget I have. Leaf, bring us home to the final scene.
So the final scene happens when Doc Brown puts Jennifer and Marty in the car, dude. He's refueled the DeLorean with the futuristic Mr. Fission.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
Right? Like he no longer needs plutonium rods because he's
yeah.
But that's the thing. We actually glazed over that right quick. Like, so Doc, after he comes back to life, like he takes off in the DeLorean to the future because that's where he originally wanted to go. He wanted to go into
30
the
years
future.
in the future.
30 years in the future to the futuristic 2015.
Damn it.
Oh my God, dude. We had such high hopes, bro. Such high hopes. And so he returns from 2015.
Instead of flying cars, we have people eating Tide Pods.
Doc is wearing these silver shades, and he throws in Marty and Jennifer, warns them that they have to go to the future to help him fix something, in the future that's messed up. And as the DeLorean pulls off into the subdivision, Marty warns the Doc, "Listen, we don't have enough room to get up to 88 miles per hour. We'll crash, and we don't have enough road." And
There
Doc
it is.
famously says, "Where we're going, we don't need roads." And
Fuck, that's a good fucking special effect.
Yeah,
it's
it really
so
is.
good.
For 85 too.
We watched it a couple nights ago. I was like, man, that's not bad at all.
It holds up.
It still holds up, man.
It really, really does. Crash. Cut to credits, and everyone's like, "Okay, we need another one."
Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
We're not going to sleep until we have another one. So the end.
The end, man. So I want us to, as we end every one of our episodes now, guys, from Back to the Future, what is your favorite line from this movie? And the one that I'm going to take is one that, this is just shout out to Gibbs, because he does this all the time randomly, where he'll be like,
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
"You created a time machine?" And I don't know why. It's not that funny in the movie, but Gibbs doing it in random places fucking always makes me laugh. So shout out Gibbs. That's my favorite line.
Well, I use one about 3 times a week when I'm in my car by myself and I'm on my way to work, and I've already passed the point on my way to work where, do you guys have a point where,
you just turn around
in your commute? In your commute, you're like, all right, if I get past here, I'm not going to turn around and go home.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Every day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I always get behind slow people, and almost every time when I'm passing them, I'm like,
Let's see if you bastards can do 90.
All right, Leaf, bring us home, man. What is your favorite line from this movie?
Dude, my favorite line's an absolute throwaway, dude. But if you know the movie, there's a point in time where Marty McFly is trying to convince his dad, George McFly, to date, his mother or ask her out, and he's like,
Look, you're not going to be picking a fight, Dad. Daddy-o.
Daddy-o?
Daddy-o?
Daddy-o, yeah, dude.
That cracks me up every single time, dude.
Good delivery.
So good.
So shout out, go watch this 40-year anniversary. I believe it's on I don't know. I think I bought it a long time ago. So this is one of those. Yeah, this is one we all own. So it's
go watch
it. If it's like Jaws, I had to buy Jaws to watch it, and then fucking 2 days later, because of the 50th anniversary, it's on Peacock now, I think.
Yeah,
for free.
it's on all the time now for free. So anyway, just maybe wait a day or two after this comes out, and then it'll be out on everything. So with that, guys, we'll take it over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Marion Barry is currently enjoying a 10-day trip to Africa. He says he loves everything about the continent, but he really misses crack.